Word 'em up. In the androgyny. Word 'em up.
I'm the guy that I like him. What's his name?
Ini Kamoze, I think his name is.
I was wrong. I'm thinking of somebody else. I'm thinking of that guy. That's...
I don't like him.
Oh, I'm thinking of Mr. Bombastic, Mr. Fantastic. That guy.
Is that Shaggy?
Shaggy.
No, I think it's Ini Kamoze that did Lyrical Gangster. Here Comes the Hot Stepper. That's the name of the song. Ini Kamoze.
Okay. It's kind of cut from the same cloth, but I enjoy that stuff.
Yeah, they're both, I guess,
it's
music.
Like Jamaican-y, you know, a little. Whatever, if that's even a way to say it.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's a nice thing to say. Jamaican-y music? Probably not. All right. Turn off this Baldur's Gate music.
I was going to say, I'm not the person to ask about that genre of music.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
You just know what you like, Bo. That's all.
I mean, I know some stuff. I like that song from the...
I'm unpausing video. Video's going. Not unpausing. Starting. So we're recording it now. You guys can still see us, all right? Yes, Caribbean music or Caribbean. It doesn't matter which way you say it, chat. That's the music we're talking about. But infuse it with some rap. You know? That's what we like. Anyway, here comes. Counting it down. Oh, I don't even have it up. Here we go. Okay. Man, I'm off my wagon. Here we go. Okay, Core's here now. In 3, 2, 1.
You know what I'm thinking about right now?
Tell me.
Taco stand back home.
Hello and welcome to Core. This is Core for September 14th, 2023. I'm Scott Johnson with Bo Schwartz and John Jagger here talking about video games, stuff we played, things that are being talked about, reviews, news, all the fun stuff. I'm very excited about it, but I got to share with you guys a little story. 2 stories. Quick one. I was walking the dog before the show. Quick half hour. No big deal. Right around 3:30 or 4:30, I went out there and I said, let's go. Weather's beautiful. Come on, dog, let's go. Now, normally my dog, Rainer, Jim Rainer, the female dog, will take a dump or a pee, walk a few feet, and then pretend like she's burying it because she still has some innate wolf-like instincts, but it's all broken. She's not burying anything. It's sometimes cement ahead of her or grass on a whole other patch that we way past where you would bury it. So a lot of dogs do this, right? It's just kind of a busted instinct. Well, today, she takes a big old, wet, horrible, greasy poop in the grass, and I'm getting the bag out to get it ready. I'm trying to find that, you're finding the edge, and it's like, gosh dang it, is this the back of it? Is it the front? And I'm peeling it and poking at it, and then I finally get it open. Right as I open it, I look down, and she's doing her instinct, but she's kicking the poo out into the street, and a whole hunk of it went on the side of somebody's Acura going by.
Well,
it put a poo on his door, and he didn't notice. I'm not going to do anything.
That's one less to pick up, I guess.
He's going to see it later and be pissed off, but whatever.
It was so annoying. But
I don't feel bad for people in the cars. I know they're expensive, but they get wear and tear.
Yeah, plus it'll come off. Yeah. Poo's not permanently damaging. You'll get it off.
Unless it was a wet poo, so no denting. That's good.
I also did something this week that I wanted to share, and it's this. My wife spent 6 days watching her sister's kids. She has 5 kids at home, 1 out of the house. So 5 kids all week. It's a lot. Ranging from age of 4 to 16 and a half. All right, so big range with those kids.
The 16 and a half should be able to help a bit, though.
He does. He's great.
Old enough.
In fact, he's the one I talked to. He's a great
I was going to say, you think so, but I keep telling myself that, and I keep seeing no hope on the horizon.
Well, when they get to be that old, they are much more helpful, hopefully. It depends on where their heads are at, I guess. But the problem is it's not technically legal for them. If something went wrong, his parents would be in huge trouble. So it's kind of a mixed bag. So that's why she was there. She's mostly just making sure everybody's eating and, getting home from school and getting to football practice and all the stuff they were doing. 6 days of this, and I'm over here not with Kim. Well, we all got together for a soccer game. One of the kids had a soccer game. And at the soccer game, I just, as a random aside, said, Luke, he's the older one, the 16-year-old. I said, Luke, what are you and your friends playing these days? What do kids your age play these days?
What are the children doing?
And I said, he even made that joke. He's like, children, kids. I'm like, no, you know what I mean. I know you're cool and you're 16, but you're still a kid to us. I said, so what are you guys playing? And he basically confirmed what I already believed, but he says that everybody in his school, without any exception he's aware of, is playing Fortnite, Minecraft, sometimes Warzone, and Call of Duty, and that's it. Like, all any of them
Minecraft,
play.
Warzone, and Call of
Duty Warzone. Yeah. So
Fortnite.
So what was
Minecraft.
it? Fortnite, Minecraft. That adds up. That makes sense.
it seems right, but
It's basically the same in this household, except replace Warzone with Rocket League. And
right. That's right. I
then-
forgot your kids were getting into that. But also, wasn't there a Roblox thing for a while? Or did that get...
Roblox has kind of phased its way out of the house. Sometimes it crops back up, but right now, Fortnite and Rocket League are the big ones.
Interesting.
And Stardew Valley.
Was your response disgust?
No.
You're like, oh, you got to play some real games, young lad.
I did not. I said, that's interesting. Why is that? And his answer to me was a very honest one. He goes, I only work part-time and at night, and it's like 2 nights a week, and I don't have enough money to buy like bigger or better video games. Is what he said.
Parents can't buy games. I mean,
they
damn,
can.
son. I never got everything I wanted either, but I did get to play some Final Fantasies and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Once in a while, I think, see, that's what it felt. It felt different because when I was a kid, I'd save a bunch of money and then I would buy that NES game that nobody would buy me.
Yeah.
And I
would beg for Christmas. Like birthdays and Christmas were always like a guaranteed.
Right. But look at it this
I
way.
really wanted, like a good chance I could get it,
Go stand in front of a store and look sad in the hopes that some well-to-do, affluent person would buy you the game you wanted.
Oh, that sounds like a thing that would work every time.
I don't recommend any.
It's a 0%.
Don't recommend any kids.
Didn't stop me from doing it. Never worked.
Yeah.
We don't recommend any kids wait for strangers to buy them treats.
No.
That's not a good.
No.
That's not. Don't do that.
It's not a kind of trade you want to live with.
Well, hey, this is why I'm being clear. It never worked.
Yeah.
But it did work. This was my method. It worked on my parents extremely well. I discovered that if I talked to them about a game I did not have nonstop, eventually, to get me to stop talking to them about the game, they would decide, if we just buy it, all this conversation about us hearing about a thing we don't want to hear about will go away.
So what
it was a slow roll, didn't get immediate results, but you could wear them down.
Yeah.
Like the mighty river carving through a canyon. You would eventually get there.
Sure.
I think I need to have kids. It's kind of unfair to my unborn children that they don't get to be born because I would let them miss school and play video games. Like I would be borderline abusive in that direction. I'd be like, school's great and all, but did you finish your Final Fantasy Rebirth homework?
Yeah. It's
let's play.
Mr.
Like, I don't want
Schwartz.
to play video games anymore, Dad. I want to do arithmetic.
I want to go to school. I want to learn. You're gonna finish.
That's right.
You don't even know what happens to Aerith.
Yeah.
No Zelda.
I could see it though. They come to your door, Mr. Schwartz. We've been informed that here at the Canadian Educational Ministry, we've been informed that you are forcing your kid to play Final Fantasy at night and not do his homework.
Well, nobody wants to let me hang out with their kids unsupervised. Not for the usual reasons where you're like, that guy's like a pedo, and so let's keep him away.
Right,
it's like,
right,
no,
right.
he's going to corrupt the kids and give them all kinds of crazy ideas about staying up late. Like, I'm an adult and I get to play video games whenever the hell I want. You should tell your parents. I'm just going to create so much bad influence on them because I feel like, I wouldn't be cruel, but I would be playing games with my kids, like, for sure.
Of course you would.
I never had that.
I did the same thing, and I was really leaning on that front when my kids were of the age where you have to worry about it. But my nephews and my nieces all think I am the coolest uncle for no other reason except for when they come here, they get access to it all. They can play, and they get pizza, and Kim feeds them. They think this is freaking Disneyland when they come over here to my house.
I want to be like that. I want to be Disneyland.
Oh, it's so fun. It's so fun, especially when you have no, like when it was your own kids, it'd be like,
I'm taking proposals. I'm taking kid proposals.
All right.
So,
ladies.
It is a little different when it's your own kids.
Ladies, we heard you.
When you see the results, when you go, man, look at that, I'm cool. Look how cool I'm being, and then the report cards come home and they're C's and D's.
Yeah.
And you have a visible representation of the areas you're failing at as a parent. You're like, oh,
cool. I'll just teach them to be YouTube.
There's a price for my coolness, I guess.
I'll be like, you don't need that high school stuff. Let's just get you a YouTube channel. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not, that thing's not saturated or overly competitive at all, so you'll be able to fit them right in.
If there's one thing that's true about YouTube, it's that everybody who tries succeeds.
Get them started early.
That's it, just like NFL football. If you want to play in the NBA, everyone succeeds. They all get
Everybody
in.
does it. Everybody does it.
Everyone, every single one. But I'm with you, Bo. Overall, my philosophy was, what's going to matter more when I'm on my deathbed? Will they be more fun? Will it be more of a good memory in their head that I was lenient and also broke some rules to have some fun with them? Or will they be going, I'm sure glad he rode my ass until I graduated and I hated every second of it? No, they're not going to do that. They're going to do the other thing. They're going to remember the good stuff and how fun you were.
Yeah.
And how
I
you
mean,
were.
I don't think these things are also entirely unavoidable too, because everyone's their own person and they got their own doors to walk through, even your kids. So no matter what you do, there's going to be something that maybe they feel, and it's
They all come out of the chute different anyway.
yeah, and
tell you
there's
that.
so much variability to all this stuff that but
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't particularly love the whole messaging I had when I grew up about life is work and you suffer till you die, and I was like, that's not true.
I don't like it either.
Like people that there's a lot. I know lots of people like that who define themselves by their suffering. I'm like, you guys suck.
You guys suck. I'll be here playing this video.
They
game.
do. There's so many of them. I'm not gonna live their lives for them. They can believe whatever they want, but man, it just sucks getting raised by that. So, hey, listen, all that, I'm just saying it's sad. It's unfair to them because we could be playing Baldur's Gate together. I'd love to play Baldur's Gate with my kids.
With a kid, yeah. Would you be romancing everybody left and right though if you had your kid playing with you? Say they were 10.
It's funny because my friend Mike is playing with his son,
Yeah.
and we're all kind of like, I don't know if you want to do that. There's like Viscera World in Act 2. He's like, does it get really bad? And I'm like, yeah, it gets terrible. You shouldn't play it. But the cute parts are really cute. You talk to a blue jay, and like there's like lovely things in it. But the romance is avoidable since they nerfed sex in Baldur's Gate 3. You just
there's no more committed relationship to Gale because you asked him how his day was.
It's not the worst thing. Like you see mommy and daddy kissing or just having a close moment. They're not banging, but
Yeah.
So some of the intimacy is not like
We
so
assume.
foreign. It's not so foreign. Well, no, because it comes that we were talking about this because I'm just like, because I heard my parents like banging like all through my childhood, right? Like they didn't know, but walls can be thin in a house, right? So it's just like there's bang. What's that noise in the house? And I hear things, and I'm like, what are these mysterious noises? And frozen in terror. And it's like, it's fine. It didn't traumatize me. Everyone in the chat room was like, yes, you are. You turned out crazy.
But at the end of it, does your dad go in the other room? Can you hear him go, you work too hard and then you die? Was that his...
Well, no, not during sex.
Okay,
Not
good.
No.
That's
It was
good.
more just,
Just making
the
sure.
noise. Just breathing and grunting and
Yeah.
all
No,
that.
I figured.
Yeah.
I just was hoping his big final thing was something like that, or like, HVAC's got to get a filter for the heater.
Oh, I see. In his climax moment, he's like, "I love air conditioning."
Yeah,
repair.
exactly.
Yeah,
Where's the Freon? The Freon. Anyway,
the Freon is free.
don't know why I went there. But anyway, I think
yeah,
you're right.
no.
You're one of those people. You remind me of my dad. You grew up in a pretty stringent zone, and then you broke those chains. And I always admire that. My son-in-law, Dylan, is like this. Grew up in a shit show, and he's one of the nicest, most generous, kind-hearted people I know. So there are times in my life, now there's 3 of you I've known, who figure this out. Not all the siblings. Some of the siblings go just as bad or just as weird or just as whatever. And then some of you break free. And I think that's what you did. And I like that about you.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
I like that about you too.
Oh, thanks, man.
And John, I think broke.
And John
free.
too. John broke free
Hi.
because
He's so free. Look at his world. He's like lives on Cybertron. Now.
You know why?
Yeah.
Because he
He's
whittled
so
his
free, he
parents
left
down.
the planet,
He
and
whittled
lives
his
on
parents
Cybertron.
down until they acquiesced and gave him whatever game he wanted.
Can I see your shockwave? Can you show me your shockwave?
Whoa, is this a?
Yeah, you
it's
wanna
not a
see the new
euphemism, is it? It's
Shockwave?
a-
Yeah, please. It looks so cool. I have to see your shockwave.
Oh my gosh! Look at this, you guys! Holy
Chat
shit.
room. If you're listening only, you're missing out. This statue.
Oh, where are we going?
Yeah,
there we go.
that direction. Look at it. It's got like art
How is
lines.
that not a cartoon like in real life? That is crazy.
I agree. The only thing I don't like about it is it confirms the fear I had that I put his gun on the wrong arm on the drawing.
Well, you want to know something crazy, Scott?
Mm.
The first Marvel Comics sketch of Shockwave, the gun is on that arm.
Oh, well, then I don't feel bad.
Yeah, you're
you
good.
go.
You're good. They're Transformers. You can transform.
Yeah, you can take one off, put it on the other side. Let's just say
Yeah, you're
that.
good.
Let's retcon it and say that that's true.
Also, I believe the Michael Bay Shockwave had the gun on that arm.
Oh,
What's it made of? Is it like pewter or is it because it looks like it's made out of paper, but it isn't. It's heavy. Like
Yeah, it's heavy. It's a heavy duty.
yeah.
It's just
It's
the
just- I
Hasbro.
don't know
if
what's made out of.
Hasbro has a whole line of really nice replicas. It must be one of those.
This one was
Beautiful.
from, I don't think it's by Sideshow, but it was from Sideshow Collectibles.
Oh, Sideshow's awesome, dude. That's not cheap. That thing right there. I mean, I'm not
No.
trying to call your wife out on the
No.
money she threw at you.
It wasn't expensive. It was supposed to be a Christmas gift. She was gonna wait till Christmas, but she got into the she went to the website and it said only a few in stock, and she went shit. So she bought it because it was intended to be a Christmas gift, but then because Christmas is still a little ways away. I don't know if you're all keeping track of this, but we got a little ways to go. She goes, I guess it's a really expensive anniversary gift. I was like, all right, we'll call it that, and you can just get me something real shitty for Christmas.
Yeah.
We'll just, that's what we'll do.
Sure.
Can I ask you a question though? Do you ever feel
Yeah.
like the need to balance out all the Decepticons you have with Autobots?
No, not really. Like the Decepticons are just clearly better characters. Like overall, I mean, if I was gonna list all my
Wheeljack
favorite,
will remember that.
if I was gonna list all my favorite Transformers, I don't think we'd even get to an Autobot until number 4, 5.
Yeah.
Like,
I hear
it's
you.
not
Look,
high.
Yeah,
And
I
even
hear
then,
you.
it's
They're just-
Optimus Prime. Like, it's just like the given good guy.
yeah, they don't really have
so-
plot lines of their own since they're not trying. The whole point of the Decepticons is they're all backstabbers, so they have their personalities come out in that sort of
Yeah.
with those objectives, but they're just literally there to all help each other. So lame.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Autobots are okay, but especially in the early stuff, like, they're just all on the same. Yeah, they're all on the same team. So it's just
Yeah.
like, well, which one do you like?
Yeah.
Which color car do you like? That's your then pick that Autobot.
Yep.
I do like Grimlock. I have a Grimlock.
We'll see
Although I
Grimlock.
will say,
Right
later
here.
iterations
Here's
don't.
Grimlock.
Later iterations don't focus on him as much, but like Ratchet's a pretty important Autobot.
I like Ratchet.
Yeah, I like Ratchet. I like Jetfire, even though that's kind of like saying I like the Decepticon. That's an Autobot.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Do you like oh, why can't I?
I like Ironhide. just
Ironhide,
because of the
yeah,
way it
I like
talks.
Ironhide, too.
though.
Ironhide's a guy you
original-
want. You need your tank. And I know Optimus is kind of your tank too.
He's the
but-
guy that always says, "Let's bust some Deceptichops."
Yeah,
And I'm-
Deceptichops.
I like Wheeljack because I like his little headlights, fins, whatever you want to call them, whatever they are. His
Yeah.
little pointy antennas that light up.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Those are cool.
He's good. Like there are good Autobots, but I just think like my number one is Shockwave, and I always say this is the reason. He's the most alien robot of all these alien robots.
Yeah.
Like that's what they are, and he looks like an extra one of that.
He never went and caressed like a Bronco and then turned into a car. Like he never bothered.
No. He just stayed on Cybertron and held it down. Oh, I will show you one other cool thing about this statue. So you can change one of the hands. It came with an extra hand.
What? Can I dual wield?
And here's the cool part. The other hand for
Yeah.
Shockwave
Yeah.
is him holding a gun, but the gun he's holding is the gun he turns into.
What?
So it's kind of like getting a second Shockwave on top of your Shockwave, because this is technically what he transformed into.
Just a larger version of that, or the same size as that? Is he shrink
Yeah,
down?
he used to just turn into a giant one of these.
Okay, so maybe he's
Because
just
see,
like,
there's
well,
there's the little pack thing, the little band that would go across the arm and all that. Like, yeah. So it's kind of like Shockwave holding Shock.
yeah, he's got a sidearm when he needs it, and then when he wants to go big power, he turns into it. That's my thinking there. Just doubling up, it's fine. He's a cool guy.
It's all crazy, but yeah, Shockwave and Starscream are my favorites. I think those are the two best characters in
They're my
Transformers.
favorites.
And then number 3, Soundwave.
Soundwave's great.
And then maybe number 4, Optimus. I think I like Optimus a little more than Megatron, which would probably be number 5.
It's a good list.
Yeah.
I think I'm right on that list as far as my top. It's pretty close. I might swap around Soundwave and Shockwave.
That's
Sound-
Megatron #1.
Megatron's pretty great.
I like him a lot. The biggest problem is I think what he turns into, especially when he used to turn into a gun that someone else had to shoot, was really stupid.
Yeah.
But I think he's
part of the appeal now.
Yeah, but also Soundwave fighting with the power of cassettes is pretty stupid. But we loved him because he was by your command. Like he had this badass voice, sounded like a Cylon all the time.
Oh
and
yeah.
that was his big draw.
Soundwave is awesome.
If it was just a guy that was like, "Hey Megatron, I got an idea," eject, and out comes one of the things.
Check out my radical tape, bro. This one turns
Exactly.
into a little
That would
bird.
have really sucked. Like we would not be talking about Soundwave with hushed tones, but because he's cool, we'll forgive the cassette life that he lives. Anyway, that's fantastic. Let's get right to it, though, folks. We got a main topic today. Unity, the engine. You may have heard of it. Unity, not to be confused with the end. The story. There's a story point in Starfield. You're always going after what's called Unity in Starfield. This is different than that. At least the one in Starfield is.
Maybe it's a veiled message.
Maybe, I don't know.
They're hiding it.
This is Unity, the engine, and they have decided to be really, really weird. I thought there's lots of ways to describe how their plan is supposed to be implemented, but I actually thought maybe the best way to do it would be some audio I created from the Red Hook statement. Now, if you don't know who Red Hook is, they're the developers behind Darkest Dungeon 1 and 2, both games created in Unity. And they put out a statement today that's fantastic. So I thought, let's hear that statement, but with the voice of the Darkest Dungeon narrator.
Oh, shit.
With a little bit
Now,
of this.
of course, Scott, you went to the actor.
Got full
and
permission.
Requested to use.
100% not true. So
And this is you said, hey, I got a great idea for you.
Yeah.
And he just shot this project back because he cared so much.
So I would like to make this extremely clear. I one-offed his voice in AI. I will use it for this purpose only, and then I will throw it out when I'm done. I already have, actually. It's gone. But it's enough to record this line so that you can hear this in the way it should be read. So we got some nice, creepy dungeon music. This is right from the game, actually. This is from 1 or 2. And I will now let Red Hook have their say in the stylings of the narrator. Here you go.
We at Red Hook know something about madness. Much like Darkest Dungeon, game development is a dynamic and challenging effort where tough choices must be made using imperfect information. Making and releasing a game is an uncertain endeavor, with treasures never guaranteed. But that uncertainty should lie in the marketplace, not with fundamental business terms around which a project was built. We believe Unity has made a grave misstep in introducing a poorly thought-out fee mechanic, and then compounded that threefold by making it apply to games that have already been released. We are sympathetic to the idea that companies must sometimes change how they operate, but these changes should be carefully planned, communicated, and enacted in such a way that partners may choose whether they wish to accept these new rules for their next projects. We built Darkest Dungeon using Unity, and a large part of our decision to do so was the relative cost certainty around the license and subscription model. We've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on licenses, and far more than that in engaging Unity to help us with parts of development. It is hard for us to imagine building another game with Unity, unless we know we are protected from the possibility of massive changes to how we pay for that technology being introduced at the whims of executive management. Part of game development is knowing when a mechanic is not working, and then having the courage to swallow your ego and undo the mistake. We call on Unity to recant this blunder.
Recant this blunder, says the dev who has the perfect games to talk like that. Anyway, they described it really well. Basically, the way this works is you're a developer. Let's say Bo, he's making Lake Run. If he was using
Super Lake Run.
Yeah, if you were going to make Super Lake Run in Unity, as proposed, this is what the rules would do to you. I guess in theory, because they're not actually applied yet. And I keep thinking they're going to walk it back, and they haven't yet. And we'll get into that. But it would require you, every time somebody installed the game, you would pay a fee. And that means if I own the game and install it on my new PC, and then think, oh, that's fun, I'm going to continue this on my Steam Deck, that counts as another install. Me uninstalling it and reinstalling it counts as another install. Every time somebody installs it via Game Pass, PlayStation Plus, various PC services, a game they already own and install and reinstall 100 times over, you, the developer, are now on the hook to pay whatever that fee is going to be.
Somewhere between 20 and 2 cents.
Well, not Game Pass, but yes,
now they have.
Well, we'll get to that.
Walk that around a little
Yeah,
bit.
this is.
Let's not get lost in the weeds just yet.
Yeah.
This is a moving target, right? So that's initially how this came out, and they said no, it would be a first-time install only kind of deal, and everyone's like, well, how do you know? And they're like, well, the software is proprietary. We don't want to share algo, so trust me, bro.
Yeah. Which already made some people go, wait a minute, Unity's basically got a little bit of built-in malware in it where it can tell when I've installed something or not. And I think that may be a little hyperbolic, but it's true. I mean, these engines know what you're doing with them, and some of that data is reported back. When you agree to a lot of the EULAs these days, some of that is some of this reporting, this data reporting.
Yeah, I think what's got a lot of the developers up in arms about this issue is that none of it is explained, because what they're doing, RevShare is like an existing system, right?
Yeah.
Like industry wide, there's a way that everyone goes about agreeing upon metrics for how many sales, right? Like actual tangible sales or revenue is like a number that's, there probably still can be like disagreements about numbers, but like it's the established norm just in terms of how much money did you earn? You owe us this percentage of it, right?
Right.
And they're like imposing a new carrier infrastructure, a new toll gate around, no, we're not going to do rev share. We're going to do installs. Well, like you said, like if my computer's offline, you can't track that install, by the way.
No.
Not that it's not likely in this day and age, but you know, there's a lot of questions about you're proposing a whole new system of monitoring and tracking, and that introduces a lot of uncertainty, and the company's response has been like, it's proprietary. Yeah. Just trust us. We got your back.
Trust us. The bill we send you is going to be in your best interest, not ours.
Yeah.
We're just going to send you the bill.
Now, if you've had phone service, the best thing I can equate this to is phone service. I know a lot of people now don't have a home phone anymore, but even on roaming charges, cell phone charges, I'm sure many of you have had to dispute something that looked fishy because you were sold one thing and had to pay a different thing. And that's what game developers are looking at right now with this, is that they just don't know and they're not being informed. And how do you make a business plan around that, right? Like you could be, your metrics could say 100,000 installs. They say 200,000. And then you say, no, sorry. Then they're like, well, no, it's 200,000. You got to pay. And maybe that 200,000 breaks your budget and you can't pay salaries, you know, or whatever it might be. Like it's the system is so poorly thought out, communicated. If it was a good system, maybe it would be something that, you know, could be implemented, but it's terrible and it's uncapped. Rev share is capped always at the percentage, right? You earn so much revenue. Yeah. Your rev share is that cap. If you're doing it per install, like some of the examples you brought up, people have mentioned, what about pirated copies? What about, like you said, multiple devices? Some people install their games all the time. Like there's just so many vectors for, like, why did you pick installation as your gateway? Why not the actual point of sale? Like what is happening in your brain? And it's like, maybe they're trying to capture the free-to-play market. So free-to-play app developers are like, so if I, you know, ship out 10 million copies, I got to pay for 10 million installs right away. And who knows what my conversion rate and revenue is going to be on those premium, like, sales, you know, like it's
F that.
And I don't think that they're going to look at like those sales. Like, that's so weird. Like, why would they want rev share? Don't you want a percentage of microtransactions? Like, so everyone, when this first came out, I clearly saw it as like, this is like the shittiest thing I've heard in gaming in quite a while. And like, I wasn't 100% sure. I was pretty sure, but to see companies come out in solidarity and like shit all over Unity, like several of them now, and even Jeff Keighley was like, his response was like, what a joke. Like, everyone's talking shit about Unity is just how bad this is.
It's actually awful. Kind of a big deal for him to say that, because Unity spends a decent amount of money to be one of the co-sponsors of the Game Awards every year.
Yeah,
So,
like you speak up publicly at a business partner, you're jeopardizing, it's not normal for a company companies to actually come out and do this, to give you a sense of how
I'll tell you the part that
awful it
shouldn't
is.
surprise anybody, though. None of this should surprise anyone knowing who the CEO is. CEO is John Riccitiello, and if that name sounds familiar to you, it's because he spent years at EA and was famous for some of the worst, most egregious bullshit ever come out of EA when it comes to microtransactions. They almost screwed up. He was part of that whole Star Wars Battlefront mess, all that crap. That's him. He's noted for a couple of really interesting quotes that really piss people off. One of them was, if game companies aren't charging for every possible microtransaction they can, then they're effing stupid, he said once. He also said relatively recently, before leaving and coming to Unity, he said that if he had his way, every time anyone reloaded a weapon in Battlefield, whichever version it was, he would make money on that. He wants to make money on every time somebody reloads a gun. I mean, he's openly, hostily aware of his love of this part of the business. So having him get pulled over to Unity, become the CEO, and now this stuff's starting to happen. There's been stuff before this too that was fishy, but this in particular sounds like the dude from EA again. That's all this is. It's him being him. And it's a mistake. Unity should jettison that bastard. Give him his golden parachute and move on. Get someone else.
They've reportedly added his picture to the Wikipedia page on the subject of greed.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think he's just like a greedy mofo. Like, you think Bobby Kotick's bad? Like, this Riccitiello guy's like, hold my beer. Like just even the notion that someone should pay money on a reload and a gun is like, he's like demons, like, they are their stripes, like whatever, if they're a sex demon, that's all they think about all day, or if they're a he's like a greed demon.
Yeah.
Like, he's a literal demon.
And I understand in the system we have of keeping shareholders happy and stuff, you kind of want a greed demon, but this is so far overstepped. I think it's almost it's just a massive mistake, and I can't believe they haven't walked it back more than they have. They've done a couple of things, but they should walk this shit all the way back to the
people need to stop using Unity.
Well, I mean, that might be what happens. I'll give an example of something that just feels a little similar to this, but smaller scale. A while back, there's a mod I used for Final Fantasy 14. It was called G Shade. I can't remember if we talked about this on the show or not. But it is basically a mod that allows you to change, and not just for Final Fantasy, for a lot of video games, the graphic settings to make the game look different, better, more vibrant, adds more color, sharpness, stuff like that. Just make the game graphically more visually appealing. And it was by far the most popular mod for Final Fantasy 14. The owner of G Shade got into a pissing match and got upset online. I'll just do the short version of it, and basically said, well, he actually did it. He found a way to install essentially kind of like a kill switch. It's been a while since I talked about it, so I might be getting parts of this wrong. But essentially, he put a kill switch in the code for versions that he felt might be pirated, and then said he could do that. He could install whatever he wanted on users' computers. Obvious dumb blunder, bad idea, and it resulted in nearly everybody leaving G Shade and switching over to Reshade, which is what G Shade was based off of anyway. Reshade is a kind of more open source. Usually you use it for a large variety of games. Everybody moved over. And even though he didn't actually do it and, walked it back and was like, I don't know about that, it ruined faith. If somebody says, hey, look, I'm going to do something, and it is an obvious blunder, an obvious stupid decision, whether they ultimately do it or not, you can kill your brand from that. Oh, even if Unity tomorrow comes out and goes, oops, we hear you, puts up a JPEG on Twitter. Well, we've heard your feedback, and after a lot of soul searching and thought, we've decided to walk this back 100%. If you're an indie developer, are you ready to just go, oh, they learned their lesson.
No.
Let's keep going in Unity.
No,
Yeah,
none
like,
of them. I heard
These
from
sorts of decisions can be immediately ending to a brand, because if you're crazy enough to attempt it, you're crazy enough to attempt it again.
I got 3 separate messages from 3 separate small indie devs who follow the various shows on the network, and all 3 of them are around the clock converting to Unreal because of this on games that were already sewn up and done. Not ones that are already working on. That may be happening too, but these are games where like, we're done. We used Unity on this project. We're converting it, taking it off stores in some cases, and we'll put it back up when it's ready. The dudes behind Cult of the Lamb are threatening to straight up delete their game and make it so nobody can install it. There's ways to do that.
I think it's a joke. You can never. It's a Devolver thing, so I don't know if that's serious. But
Well, it came directly out of them.
I think
so.
Cult of the Lamb said that they were joking.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
I have heard that they have said that it was a joke, but they were joking about actually doing it. They're not joking about how they feel about the decision.
Yeah. I think it was meant sarcastically, like, you know.
The article, the article I saw, they were acting like they were pretty pissed. But maybe this has all changed.
I mean, it's a joke now, but if a company is affected by an old title that somehow has a resurgence, that Unity thinks has a resurgence in sales, and it causes them debt, then games will get taken off. Like it might happen. I think the ideal scenario is, like, in a perfect world, Unity knows what they're doing, and actually it's not that bad. Right?
Mm-hmm. No, it's a nice engine. It's people like it.
The problem is nobody has assurances on it being uncapped. It's trust me, bro. It's not going to cost you that much. It'll be fine.
Yeah, that's
and everyone. No, and nobody's listening to Riccatello or whatever his name is and going like, "Yeah, I trust that guy."
I like Riccatelli. Let's call him that. It sounds like something I want to order at a restaurant.
Yeah, I know. It made me think of there's like a.
Yeah, what is it?
Catelli's a brand.
Catelli. I'm thinking of something else. Yeah. But anyway, so like their history is interesting. They were such a cool underdog back in 2005. Things started for them, and when they began, they were like a Mac only thing. They were trying to bring more graphic fidelity to Macs at the time, Power PCs and early Intel stuff, and then they graduated on to, all right, let's get this out on Windows and everything else, and now let's do phones. And they were this underdog. It was like Unreal and id Tech 3 or whatever at the time. All these big monster companies are just lording over the industry and controlling the flow of engine resources. And along comes this upstart, this underdog called Unity. It's in the name. It's Unity. We're going to unite everybody, and we're going to make this amazing thing. And everybody went, yeah, you are, and we loved it. And from 2 to 3.0 to 4.0 and beyond, everybody was stoked. And then why would you shit on that amazing prior reputation you had?
The leadership changed, because I've seen interviews with that guy. I don't know if we brought it up on Core before, but like he also like thinks indie game developers are stupid.
Yeah,
like he doesn't care. Like if all these indie game developers are like, we're leaving because you suck, he's like, yeah, go cry. Like get the F out of here. Don't close. Let the door hit you on the way out. Like I only think he's interested in the big contracts anyways. For sure, they're going to put on their bibs and wine and dine their biggest clients. And it's not indie game developers. They give a rat's ass about them. It's probably whoever's huge on their mobile. Those mobile developers who think like Joe Catelli. I don't know what his name is anymore. There are developers. There are people at game developers who think the way he does. And maybe we'll see in the future it's not something that is like really valued as a free-to-play indie developer space kind of thing anymore. Like I could see them still surviving. I could see this still becoming the norm for them, for the clients that they keep happy. Like I still say if you're an indie developer, you shouldn't use Unity. You should use Godot. Like now that having used it a bit, unless you really know what you want, the payoff at the end is much worse using something like Unreal or Unity. And with Unity now, I would be fearful for what else is going to happen.
Yeah,
at least Unreal is consistent. Like
there will be an exodus toward those engines. I'm sure there already is, but this is interesting. So John Riccatello, for some reason, they don't have his exact age, So it says he's 65 or 65. That's a weird entry. I don't know why it says 65
I'm
twice.
just
It's already a
then, probably.
scam.
It's
I
already a
feel
scam.
is involved.
But him, Riccatello, and like a number of other top executives at Unity all sold a shit ton of stocks before this announcement. That smells like Can I borrow your tinfoil hat, Bo? Because that smells like bullshit to me. I mean, if it's real, it seems like them gaming the system, or at the very least padding things because they're expecting a drop with an announcement like
or
this.
maybe they're doing for a favor a friend who's going to short them, so they want to bring the stocks down because someone else is going to make money on the short.
If that's the
Like,
case,
I
then
feel like that happens a lot. I'm still convinced Elon did that to some extent too. Like some Saudi prince or some business contact benefited from the Twitter dropping in price, and someone owing you a favor that can be valuable depending on, you know what I mean? Like it's like the stuff that goes on at that level. I'm like, once you've made your first millions or you have 10 million, like you're doing it for fun. Like you're doing it for vanity. You're doing it for vision. You're playing in a different league of play that we plebs, poor people, we don't understand, and it just looks like stupidity. But
yeah.
I think people at Wizards might have done it for that reason. Like you have to be so stupid to have done that to the OGL.
Yeah.
That it's almost like it looks like deliberate stock manipulation.
Yeah, this reminded me a lot of that when we talked about that some months ago.
And like, so I look at this and I'm like, that's the tinfoil hat part, that this is just intentional because someone's going to profit from the dip in stock price.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I tend to think, I mean, you're not wrong. Like there is a degree of, it's like you look at people making weirdly stupid decisions and it's like, but they're so rich. So how can if they're stupid, why do they have so much? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And sure, I've seen plenty of people fail up. I've worked at enough companies to know that sometimes the people, the very pinnacle of your business, are the dumbest people in that building. It happens. But at the same time, to me, I think in this case, I think we've seen it with Elon Musk on Twitter. I think you have a lot of people that are trying to make a lot of money and they have zero creativity and they are not capable of thinking of an actual way to do it. And this is what they got. And it's they come to the table because to them it's like, but this will make profits. And they don't see the details and the minutia in it. They don't see the forest for the trees. They're just like, well, we ran the numbers. This will get us money. And I think that, again, you see it with a decision like this that pisses off all of your customers and possibly kills your brand. We'll see. It's still going.
Yeah.
You see it with Twitter right now. Like, Twitter is monetizing things that already exist. Like that has been the monetization strategy of Twitter, is take it away from them and try and sell it back. That's not a genius move. That's somebody that doesn't have a creative idea that made a decision and is just trying to figure stuff out. It's like, I don't know, shut down TweetDeck and then see if they'll pay us for it to come back. Like, it's just a lack of vision. It's just like, how do we get the numbers? And they can't come up with anything. That's my read on it. I genuinely think these people don't know what they're doing. They're good at making money. They're not good at understanding what they're doing in the space.
That's sort of like why I think what I think, John, because it's so defies the enshittification of like good services, so defies like common sense that the end game is that it is profitable. Like, and us being mad about that stuff is part of the churn. Like, it's all part of
somehow it's part of it. Yeah.
It's just part of, it's a Tuesday. It's part, us being,
I mean, it could be.
They burn an effigy now and then for insider training. Someone gets slapped, but for the most part, if we're distracted with the usability is bad, they're like, sweet, they're not paying attention to what we're actually doing. Great.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I assume it's not as simple as like it sucks because it's still standing, still being used.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure Unity's still going to be a game engine that some developers choose. Even in spite of all the protests. But man, like it's a crazy for installs. Like it's so crazy. Like it is so crazy, right? Like it's just
No, it's insane.
No, it 100% is, and
I don't
was
want my
listening
PC
to,
reporting back.
No.
You know,
I was
like,
listening to Jesse Cox talk about it, and he brought up something that I hadn't even thought of, which was a lot of these games that are made in Unity get offered in free bundles, whether that's to support a charity or part of a big package deal where the developers go, you know what, we want to support a cause. Here's codes to the game at no cost. If those get installed,
You're paying
they're all
for 'em.
installs.
Yeah.
The developer is now going to be charged for that. And now you're disincentivizing developers to support causes, to contribute, to be parts of bundles. And for me, I never really intended for this to be my soapbox, but it has kind of become my soapbox on this show. I don't give a shit about the businesses. I really don't. I don't like them. I care a little more about the developers, but even developers, I tend to go, your job is to make good video games, and I'm not going to give you much empathy beyond that. I care about the end user experience. That's your job. That's who I care about, is what is being delivered and what people's experience is. And we don't know how that's going to trickle down. People who are defending it are like, well, it's probably not going to be much of an extra cost if they decide to pass that cost up to users. People are mad because video games got $10 more expensive recently. Like, any amount of money increase, if that gets passed to players, is going to be a problem. If you are going to basically tell somebody who wants to make a free-to-play game, well, we're going to be coming for money, and they don't know how much money they're going to make, who do you think is going to pay for that? It's going to be us in one way or another.
One way or other, we pay for it.
Trickle down.
Yeah, sure. That's the trickle down. As far as trickle down economics go, that's the one version of trickle down that actually does trickle down, is the costs end up in our lap at some point.
Yeah, when one business charges another and that business doesn't want to pay more either, then the customers will pay.
No, every time. That's just the way it goes.
Like all the thefts against them.
We're just in this new phase. We're in this phase right now where it's like, let's nickel and dime everybody. Let's get every little bit we can. Netflix knows that, yes, some people will cancel when they raise their service another $2, but enough people will stay, and we can introduce this and this and this, and we'll show a profit. So they're comfortable doing that. I'll bet Riccatello and his people think that this will. People are up to their neck in the Unity environment with all their projects. They cannot afford, many of them, to pivot and go to something else, and so he's counting on that. He's counting on people going, I can't do this. I can't afford. I guess I'll just have to stay and do this. I guess it's better than redoing it. That's what they're counting on. And that makes them gigantic, throbbing, engorged penis dicks. I freaking hate these guys.
That's where the expression, no such thing as a free lunch, comes from. Like, we can evangelize Unreal and Unity all we want, but it's not a free lunch. Like, you're like, oh, sweet, I'm going to learn this system. And now I've spent 10 years learning it. Now I'm ready to actually release the game and make some money. And then it's pay up time. And you're like, well, but I didn't make that much in sales. And you're really going to take, oh, okay. You know, like it's.
Yeah. People always ask, why do companies that are big enough to do it, why do they invest in their own engines? Whether that be the creation engine of Bethesda or Blizzard always does their own engine, except, by the way, Hearthstone is Unity. So that's interesting.
I mean, it's a lot of work to make your own engine.
No, it is. That's what I'm saying. The companies that can afford it and do it for this reason, though. They want control of it, because if they don't have control of it, then you got guys like Riccatello in the background going, we're changing this and this and this. I'll bet you money, if they don't walk this back, Blizzard announces they're going to switch to another engine for their two Unity projects are Hearthstone and the new thing you're playing.
Rumble.
Those are both.
Better stop playing it. Blizzard might kill it. I don't. But again, ABK might get a sweetheart deal. Like, they're big enough that.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is not necessarily a bad deal for big games. Like, a lot of financial things, if you're big enough, it's not a big deal.
It might be like
it is a biggest problem for small
devs.
Yeah. It could be. I think ABK is going to handle this behind closed doors. There's not going to be a public statement against Unity. That's, you know. And out of those negotiations, they can sign, like, just because they have a default pricing policy doesn't mean that a very valuable customer deciding to pull out isn't going to get a different price plan behind the scenes.
Different attention
That's
altogether.
So
standard.
they'll get exclusive contracts, and I think that's the only people that Riccatelli cares about, anyways. It's the any gambling companies, because they make a lot of money. Any big AAA corporately traded companies. Who knows what's going to happen with the Microsoft? I know we're talking about Game Pass and those games affecting installs, because do subscription service game offerings count as installs? I mean,
well, they said that it won't to the devs. They said they're going to charge Microsoft for it. But then what is Microsoft's response when they are picking what games to court for Game Pass, and you look at a Unity game and you go, oh, we're going to be footing the bill for installs on this. Are they going to want it on Game Pass? Like, that's the problem. It's so much uncertainty because of how it's built. We don't know.
Yeah.
And so there are people out there that are using the don't know to be like, it's not that big of a deal. That we don't know. It's unclear.
There's so much, because it still leaves so much room for the other side of this, which we haven't talked about, which is install bombing and install terrorism. Like, let's say we know that Microsoft pays per install. So, and let's say I'm a bad actor. I don't think we'll ever do this, but I'm a streamer. I have a lot of viewers, and I'm like, go to your Xbox and install every single game. If you install the same game, they can detect it, but make sure you install everything in that Xbox library and tell all your friends to do it. And then you tell 100,000 people to install bomb that. Like, that alone would be terrible, but there are people who can write virtual machines and have 500 virtual machines running and do all kinds of installs on Steam and stuff like that. And who knows what else they can get up to. Those keys that fall off trucks and get sold on G2A and stuff. Maybe somebody gets a hold of a pile of keys and installs a whole bunch just to be it's a whole world of like disaster, just because that guy wants more money and doesn't want to actually think of a good solution. Like, it is a shitty solution.
And they claim that they're going to have fraud detection to prevent exactly that. But once again, it's the people sending you the bill that's saying, trust us, we know. You have a guy that wants to monetize every single clip that gets fired in... Or mag that gets fired, because apparently the internet's very strict about this. I don't know if you know, but anyway, he wants to monetize every bullet in Call of Duty, but we're gonna trust him that he's going to do some dutiful accounting and send us a proper bill. Don't worry about it. He's got your back.
If the fraud software was auditable, then maybe that's
maybe, but they're not telling us.
They said no. It's
it's proprietary trade secrets. But here's the thing. Gosh dang it! It makes me so mad. It's hard for me to even say the words.
It's so stupid that go on.
He hates. He said out loud, in almost the same words, he hates indie devs. He hates the indie scene. He hates the whole idea of small groups or even one person, your Stardew Valley types, to have some success with an idea and take the world by storm. For some reason, to him, that's either small potatoes or they're only ever one-offs, and there's no room for this. It should all be giant corporate stuff.
And that's where he's being stupid, because most of the big games started as that.
All of them do. They all start that way.
Yeah, maybe all of them. Maybe there's one or two that don't, but a vast majority start as indie studios. Even World of Warcraft was a bunch of dudes who might have been fired, right? There's like, we're making an MMO. Hope it goes well. It's not like, but so it takes those people, because usually those creatives and innovative people get bored at big companies and move on. I mean, Richard Garfield's a good example. Inventor of Magic left Magic like very early on. It's, Magic's still around making money, but the creator didn't stick around. He didn't want to be part of a bureaucracy. He made other games. He's just like, I make shit and move on. And I think that's sort of like where gaming has become so huge that you can have these humanoid shaped warts that like join the gaming industry and bring their dumb wart thoughts to it. And I just think this is so stupid, even for someone like that it is in part like intentional for some reason. Like there's intentionality behind this. They can't be that dumb.
Yeah, when you're talking about that,
I refuse to believe that they're that dumb. When someone lies to you and you're like, I know they're smart enough that they know this lie. I'm just buying it, and it's not really,
Happens all the time.
Like, yeah, like they're not that dumb. Like, as much as we hate them and want to think of them, they're not that dumb. Something about this is working out in their favor.
But they are that big a dick. So they may not be that dumb, but when I say they're a huge dick, they're bigger than I say. Yeah. They're huge dicks. Yeah. Gigantic dicks.
The only thing that usually stops these things is the outcry. This outcry might actually stop. There might be enough. There's internal revolts. For sure at Wizards there was internal revolts.
I guarantee there are here. I guarantee
and I think that's the case here in Unity as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I still think there's intention. I don't think it's just hubris. I think there's a little more to it. I just think it's stock manipulation. I mean, Elon's been accused of it 100 times. He sends out a tweet, Tesla goes down, and he cashes out. He's been accused. I don't know if he was actually convicted, but it's come up multiple times.
Many times.
Like they are playing like weird games that your anger is just like a blah, blah, blah.
Oh,
like,
yeah. And all you Elon stands, you don't have to email us. We know how you feel. Okay.
Yeah, whatever. You got your website. Like, enjoy. It's fine.
Yeah, go have your fun and do whatever you do.
Like, have fun. Like, whatever.
There's a little bit of knock on from this. Unity canceled a town hall. John Riccitiello was set to address employees Thursday morning. That was supposed to happen today, but they had in this company-wide all hands on deck thing was canceled, and 2 Unity offices were closed because of alleged, and they say reliable alleged death threats. So it gets uglier and dumber.
Yeah.
That's just another problem in gaming of, mentally ill people.
Right. And it's not even devs the devs who are affected aren't even the ones calling it in. It's just dumb gamers. Or because I don't trust anything Unity says.
If you have to send a death threat to anyone.
Yeah, you need help.
To any company that hasn't personally actually affected you, like killed your family or something, like you're mentally ill.
But part of me thinks that it would be a great idea to go, oh, how can we garner back a little bit of sympathy? What if we tell people we got death threats? I'm not saying they did that, but I'm saying I can't trust them now. So how the hell do I know, John?
It's mental illness. It's a schizophrenic person who's involved.
We love to do this, and it bugs the shit out of me. I get where it comes from, but we love to do this. Like, we all hate Elon Musk, so therefore he's incapable of doing anything good, which is not true. He has made changes to Twitter that were positive. That's the simple truth. People don't like it because people want to go, he's a villain, thus everything he has ever done has been a bad thing.
Well, what did he do to
Most
Twitter?
Most of the changes he did,
this is probably a bad example,
and then get a bunch of stuff.
This is probably a bad example.
My understanding is he made an attempt to crack down on specifically child pornography that was being shared across Twitter.
Oh.
That's a good thing.
No, but the word is it's higher than it's ever been and worse than since he.
I don't know, but see, that's the problem. Is everybody wants to just immediately go, I hate this person, therefore they're incapable of doing anything good. And I'm going to say it's probably the same thing. Like, all we have is the information we have. They closed down town hall meetings because of death threats. So instead of all of a sudden going, I pierced the veil, I figured it out, they made it up to get sympathy. Can we just take it at face value and go, you know what? Maybe something unfortunate did happen on the other side, because there's literally 2 sides to every coin. Like, there are people who are morally right and they stand and they go too extreme on that side just as much as the other side. Like, you shouldn't be calling in death threats. This is not a death threat level activity. It absolutely sucks. Unity sucks. John Riccitiello sucks. But that doesn't mean that people are incapable of calling in a death threat against the company because they were mad and passionate, and we shouldn't go, hey, that's something you shouldn't do.
Yeah.
Well, I almost feel like it's made up. Like, why would anyone do? Because this affects game devs most of all, right? As gamers, we're like mad about it, and we like a good villain, and we like to bash them. But like,
I could see it.
I'm just like, well, I mean, I can see it if someone's mentally ill. Like, that's
what I'm saying.
I mean, I'm unhappy about it, but like, no one needs to die.
They could be
stop using Unity. Godot is there. Like, why does anyone need to die?
Yeah,
why is death even coming up?
Devs aren't.
Just use a different engine.
It's not devs. It's just gamers, and gamers are. I know the worst, and my guess is someone's,
because I feel like that. I don't want to tell you what to say, but when you say gamer, I'm like, we're all gamers. I think the majority of us are like won't do stuff like that.
Of course not.
I think it's like serial it's like serial killer candidates that do this kind of stuff that also play video games.
Yeah,
you know
they
what I
may
mean? Like,
they may not even play. I'm just saying there may be some anonymous people who just like stirring shit up. I have no idea, but
I guess I'm just not.
I mean, there's that
I don't think we should
girl who
excuse
works
it,
for
you know?
PlayStation who everybody called for her to be, not everybody, but people called to have fired because she covered Starfield. People overreact to everything. I do not find it hard to believe that somebody called in a death threat because of this. They shouldn't. Like, it's ridiculous, but I'm not so immediately like, oh, unheard of. Death threats unnecessarily in the gamer sphere.
No.
yeah,
I've
but
never heard
it
of
kind
that
of.
before.
But the point is, that wasn't really my point. My point was, you now have a company who I cannot trust when they tell me anything. So regardless, I don't trust them. It doesn't mean I don't think there were death threats or were or weren't, or it doesn't matter. I'm saying I don't trust Unity anymore. So they can tell me anything they want to tell me. I will wait for more reliable sources to say what happened. And I guess if they come back and say, yeah, there were credible things, I would go, okay, well, I've heard it from a third party I trust. I don't trust Unity about it. Whatever they tell me from here on out does not sound like truth. So that's the point I was trying to make. I wasn't trying to say
I mean, it is
there was
possible.
no attack. That's not what I mean. I know
It's
people are
possible
dicks and they're
Joe
going to
could
do
tell he's having a bad week, and he just wanted to
Joe
call it sick.
Catelli.
He's just like, I thought I wanted to do a tell, but I'm going golfing. Just tell him there's a death threat.
I mean, look at that guy. He's pretty chill. He's just look at him. That looks like a guy with a lot of money, and he's sitting in it, just grooving on it. Doesn't really care that much. He's got that vest on.
It's like
he looks like if Emperor Palpatine didn't electrocute himself and then went to move to the Vegas planet.
The casino planet in that one movie. Yeah. The one I can never remember the name of.
He just was like, he retired from being emperor and he's like, I'm going to Vegas.
Yeah, I don't know, something about him just looks like
anyway,
what I'm sick
stop
of.
using Unity probably. We have our own indie development channel. The Spaghetti Syntax, who's working on Core, is like, he's a big Unity guy. He's like, well, I guess I'm learning Godot. Goodbye.
Yeah.
He's 10 years apparently learning it, but I think he'll be happy to make the switch. Godot's pretty awesome.
I mean, and I think that's the thing. And when you ask, like, why are people so fired up about this, that you just said it. 10 years learning a language, dedicating to your craft, video game development, whether it's indie or not, especially if it's indie, because usually it's a passion project that you're doing between your regular job. I mean, we all watched that documentary on the vampire survivors. We know where he was working and how he was trying to fit that in. Is like, yeah, I got 2 hours of sleep every now and then, and but I just really cared about my project. Like, to have that suddenly get flushed away because the company that you chose to learn the language of made a bad decision, going to get you a little hot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And by the way, the Vampire Survivors has an interesting little part in all this. They had just jumped from whatever they were working with before that guy and ported to Unity.
Yeah.
Oops.
If I were him, given the popularity and size of all of this, I'd be so pissed. Because you've just done the work.
By all accounts, he still codes in the original language. They have both versions. It's just the Unity one is the one that's live.
He might be okay.
They might actually be in a unique position to go, all right, shut off the Unity version.
That's a good point. Yeah. Man, think of it that way.
They might be okay.
Yeah, maybe you'd be all right.
The ones that are 3 to 4 years in and looking to launch next year, those are the guys that are the most screwed.
Oh, man.
I think, who was it? It was Angry Crab. Even the Among Us guys I saw tweeted out were pissed off about this. Mm-hmm. There was was it Angry Crab was the name of the company? I don't even know what they made, but I think they were in that Aggro Crab, right? Indie Game Studio. So Mega Crit team has been hard at work. It's Mega Crit. Oh, it's the Slay the Spire guys.
Oh,
the Slay the Spire sequel, whatever they were using.
I loved
it's been in development.
Statement.
Yeah. We believe Unity. The retroactive pricing structure for runtime fees not only harmful in a myriad of ways, especially indies. It's a violation of trust. Yeah. We believe Unity is fully aware. They've even removed their terms of service from GitHub. Despite the immense amount of time and effort our team has poured in development, we'll be migrating to new engine unless the changes are completely reversed. We've never made a public statement before. This is how badly you fucked up.
Yeah.
That's the part I like.
That's like that's what I mean. It's like companies do not come out in solidarity like this to trash a company, but they're all held over a barrel, and dealing with them one on one is going to get them nowhere. So the only recourse they have is to shame them publicly and to get away. But if you were making something the last 2 to 4 years, 1 to 4 years, and you're going to launch it next year, you might lose money. Your budget is out of whack. You are effed. So yeah, I think it's okay to make a change like this, but I think what you do is you do it in consultation with the companies. Like, hey, we're making a change. How does this affect you? We don't want to lose you as clients.
Yeah.
And they did not do that here.
Nope.
So
They definitely
and
did
they
not.
know they didn't do it, so they don't. It's clear they don't care, or maybe they only did it with their most important clients, which are certainly not, again, indie developers who they. Joe Catelli or whatever, Rick Catello, Rick
Rick
It's in
Catelli.
our Google Doc, man. Just look in the doc. It's written. It's written right there.
John Riccatello.
I like your fake. I like these fake names. They're good though. I enjoy them.
John Riccatello does not care about. He probably looks at them as freeloaders. I mean, at this point, like they're just these guys are making a bunch of money off our shit. Why?
Yeah.
And it's like, again, it's that whole thing. It's like, because it's an artist thing, and we put the elevator back down. Like someone who's using your stuff for free today might be the next big thing in 10, 15 years, and now you're benefiting from them. You know what I mean? Like there's a little bit of is it altruism, I think the word, that kind of goes into game dev, because it is artistic and it is about creatives collaborating. And then the spirit of the internet is sharing code and making stuff open source when it's cool. It's just like, it's, you're in the wrong industry, asshole. Like,
Well, and this is where my unpopular opinion, once again, I'll just be the unpopular opinion guy today. I think it's okay to have a businessman that wants to do business. Like, I don't think it's wrong if you have a company and you have a guy and his job is to be a businessman, not a gamer, not a guy that's coming in to be everybody's buddy, somebody that's there to make money. I think it is okay for that guy to care about making money and make decisions around making money. Now, where I think that is different and where I would say John Riccatello is not this guy, is pissing off your entire client base is not doing a good job of that. In my opinion, I am not a businessman. So I might be wrong on that, but I don't think
anyone can be a businessman.
Yeah.
I don't think we have to say, no, if you want to work in the games industry, you have to be an artist and you have to care about, shut the fuck up. No, you don't. If your job is to be in there and make money, you don't have to care about the passion or the project. That's your job. That's what we hired you for. And in theory, the people that are there to make the games, they're the ones that need to have the passion and the interest. But you do have to be a good enough businessman to maintain that business and not alienate everybody with your bad decisions.
The thing is about it, say, like, you talk about it as if it's like something that anybody can't actually do. Like, all a businessman is does this make money? If not, why not? Like that, you're qualified. I give you an MBA at the Bo Schwartz School of Business. Like, that's all it takes. Like, we're kind of like, you're kind of giving them too generous of a benefit of the
Get
doubt.
a lot more Transformers with this new job.
They actually know anything, right? Like that's all this is.
Yeah,
like, yes, I got this acronym degree. Like, I got an MBNA. It's like, it's all just like nonsense. It's just it's a club of people who are assholes that like think it's okay because they all went to the same school or same brotherhood of finance and understand how to turn a dollar. But it's not like learning to do something. Like, these guys haven't figured out anything magical.
But that's also how the world works. Going, I don't like it, doesn't change it.
Yeah.
If his job is to make money and be a businessman, that's his job.
Yeah, our job is to freak out and get him to have people move to another engine and F this guy. Like, I would love to see him get fired. Because he almost got fired from EA. They had to, kind of pry him out of there, and they got lucky because Unity was there, and they could spin the story like, yeah, I'm going over there, it's gonna be great. But they didn't like him. It was going bad at EA, like real bad. They're still not recovered from his mess. So I'm just saying, if I was Unity and I were the board members and I was the shareholders, I would look at this, depending on how much worse it gets, and if he just will not back down, I'd ask for him to step down. because this is just
All right.
you're going
Get
to
him
tank
out
their
of there.
stock.
He's
I've got
not
that-
doing the company any favors right now.
No.
I've got damage control to do because everyone's taking my MBNA slamming to mean that I'm shitting on accountants
No.
and financial people.
No.
Those are not business people. Those are financial accountants.
Yeah,
That's a
it's not the
different thing.
same. That's not the
Business,
same.
doing business is, does this make money? Can it please make money? Actually, if it doesn't make money, you're fired. Like, that's all you need. Now your business. Everyone here is listening is graduated from my school of business.
Well,
Go
it's
and
that
get
it's
jobs.
but there's also this added thing where if you're a public company, you have this idea that perpetual growth is possible, and it isn't. So you have to fake it with these ways of doing it. Fire a bunch of people so next quarter you look profitable. Do this weird nickel and diming so that next quarter you look profitable. We're no longer in the business of let's just be a good engine and make enough money to pay our employees and keep making a good engine. It has to be more and more and more and more. And because of that, it's just what are you going to do? And don't send me emails going, Scott, I didn't know you hated the free market so much. That's not what I'm saying. All right. I'm saying one of the weaknesses of the free market is this part of it. And it's affecting games and gamers, and in particular the developers who make those games that we want and love. And I don't know. I don't like it. No, sir, I don't. I'm like that horse in Ren and Stimpy. No, sir, I don't. I don't like
Actually,
it.
what I
Remember him?
enjoy the most about business is that it's a word in the same family as busy, right? Like business, you say business and it sounds important, but you say busyness and it just sounds like, well, you're just in the state of being busy. Like business, it's kind of a funny word. It just, I feel like the word itself means like bullshit because everyone says they're busy even when they're not.
Well, you're
How was
not.
your day? It was very busy, but you were playing Warcraft.
You're
Rumble or
not
something like
wrong.
that.
It's Old English busy, Northrop Bryan, whatever that's called. Care, anxiety, or occupation from careful, anxious, or busy, occupied, or diligent. The root words are busy and busyness.
Yeah, like if you think about the etymology of business, it's like fishing is like it's the act of getting fish out of the ocean, probably to eat. It's like a thing. Even accounting, again, the accountants who are hearing me talk thinking I'm insulting them. No, you are counting things, and counting can get quite complex. It is a skill. It's a practice. Business, what do you do professionally? I stay busy. I'm a busy. I just do busy. What is it? Could be anything, but I'm busy. That's all. Like business.
Yeah.
Like it's the business of being busy. It's anyways, I will shit on business people all day. Sorry if you're a big corpo guy, and I know I'm usually the corpo one, but businessmen
not in
are.
effect.
I will tell you, speaking from their side, people who are businessmen, it's just another way of saying grifter, illegal grifting.
Oh, look at that. Gauntlet
But,
thrown down.
and I guess we need those people. They
You ju-
like to think so.
You just got some XP, so I have to play this. Good job, Bo. Good job.
Anyways, yeah, and Rick Catelli, whatever this guy's name is.
Being a
John
podcaster,
Riccatello.
now that's a hard job.
Yeah, that's a
Sometimes
tough
you have
job.
to remember a name for 5 to 10 minutes at a
You have to have
time.
a big vocabulary. It's kind of the thing that's a word that's the opposite when something's like not too difficult to do. It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. So,
Anyway.
but yeah. Anyways, Unity sucks, and this move is like this will be the suckiest move business move you'll have seen all year. So,
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
pretty bad for a year
congrats,
that had a
Unity.
few of these. This is the bad one. So we'll follow it. We'll see what happens. In the meantime, everybody move to some other cool thing you trust more, but also know they could also be dicks down the road. Real quick here.
I'd expect them to maybe actually do so.
Yeah, maybe they'll be just as bad. It's you live. What's the word? You live long enough, you'll become the villain or whatever. It's like that a little bit. So watch for more. Quick promotion here. I want to just mention there's a brand new More Core episode up on YouTube. If you're like, wait a minute, is that a thing? It is. Go to youtube.com/Scott Johnson or frogpants.tv. Both of them will get you there. This was a post about my 5 favorite chore core games and why I like them. So you hear me talk about them on the show all the time, everything from House Flipper to Shipbreaker to more recent games like Power Wash Simulator, that sort of stuff. I go through my 5 favorites and I list them out, show some video, and talk about them. So go check it out over at frogpants.tv. Let's talk about our week in gaming. Lots of Starfield going on for John and I. John, let's start with you. It says here you found the fun, or you're finding the fun.
Yeah.
And that's
did.
good. That seems like a really good thing. I'm sure nothing happened to curtail that or to stall that or any problems.
Yeah, nothing you already know about or anything like that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I've been a little cool on Starfield. I've thought it was an okay game, and in this day and age, that's basically like saying, "Boy, I sure played a piece of shit a lot lately," but I actually mean it. I thought it was a pretty okay game, and I will tell you, Starfield does not put its best foot forward. It is not in a rush to show you where the really good stuff is, though it is there, and I did eventually find it. It's weird. The biggest analogy I can say to it is, in the MMO space, most MMOs don't really focus heavily on story, but there are a few that are story-based MMOs. Final Fantasy 14, probably the most well-known, but I would say probably the second most well-known would be the Old Republic. Very lauded for having a great story. Lots of people say like, "Oh, Old Republic has a fantastic story. You should play that game."
Yeah.
But if a friend of mine said, "You know what? You've said it's got a great story. I'm gonna go check it out," and I said, "Oh, cool. Which class did you play?" And they said, "Oh, I'm gonna play as a Jedi consular." I would go, "Oh, actually, don't, because that whole good story thing.
Mhm.
Not if you pick that class. That class is garbage.
Mm.
Don't do that. You're not gonna have a good time." And that's what the main quest of Starfield is.
I disagree. but keep
Starfield
going.
is the most like boring ass main quest I've ever played in a video game. And I was sticking to it pretty heavily, and I was ready to uninstall the game. I realized I was in trouble and this part's actually on stream, so people can watch my suffering in real time. I'm trying to do a mission, and it was actually a cool mission. I found this derelict ship. I docked with it. I went in. There were raiders in there. The gravity in the ship was failing. So I'd be running around. Then all of a sudden an alarm would go off and I'd float off the ground. And then it would be 0G for a little bit. And gravity would kick back in. So you had to make sure you were in a safe spot. And, everything would float up and then fall. And it was really cool. The entire time I'm going, my companion Barrett's going, "Hey, when you get a minute, let's talk." I'm like, "We're in the middle of a 0G battle. You're shooting guys. Shut the hell up."
Yeah.
And he just wanted to talk through the whole thing. And then I got done and I'm like, "Okay, Barrett, what do you want?" And he's like, "Hey man, we just haven't had a chance to talk. We've been traveling together a while. What do you think about that?" And I'm like, "It's fine." It's like, "Yep, good times. Anyway, I just wanted to see how you were adjusting." I'm like, "I'm fine." "Yeah, I hear you. Boy, me and my friend Greg," or whatever his name was, "we sure had some good times too."
Mhm.
And it's like giving me options like, "Oh, who's Greg? Oh, did you travel with someone?" I was like, "I do not care about Greg. I don't want to hear your story about Greg. I don't want to talk to you about Greg. I have zero interest in your I'm sure it's a tragic tale. I'm sure it's very interesting to somebody that gives a shit. It is not me. I brought you on this mission because I don't know why. Somehow the crew screen just messed everything up and I got stuck with you. I was going to bring the robot. You know why? Because the robot doesn't bring any baggage. He just comes aboard and he just goes, 'Yep, Captain. Nope, Captain.' And he does what I tell him to do. And that's who I wanted to travel with.
Oh,
I
and he
didn't
calls
want
you
to
by your
travel
real
with
name
you."
too. He'll call you whatever your first name or your whatever you put in there. It's all generated
Yeah,
on fly.
it's very cool.
Yeah.
Like
There's a list
it's
of there's
legitimately.
there's 1,000 names. If you have the 1,000 names, it'll say it.
Oh, is that it? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like Forza, I think. And I looked up the list. Unfortunately, Gorath is not in there, but boobies and titties are in there.
Really?
So if you call yourself Captain Titties, it will call you apparently that.
That's great.
My guy's
Just a little FYI.
my guy's name is Miles Borker, and it knew Miles and can say Borker no problem. So I assumed it was real time. That's actually cool to hear.
There's a list. Just Google. I Google the list. If I play Starfield, I'm gonna go play as Captain Booty.
Yeah, there was a time I just wanted to hear if he would say my name. Like John is an exotic name. I was like, will he say John?
Yeah.
Whoa, John's in the game. I can't believe it. What is this? But yeah, he does. He totally does. But anyway, I don't care about that main story. It might get better. It is getting more interesting. But so far, the main story has been like, hey, piece of space metal. We found one. You want to go get it? Yeah. All right. We got it.
Yeah, go get that
Cool.
metal.
You want to bring it back and watch it float? Yeah. Cool. All right. You want to go get another piece of space metal? Sure. Why not? All right. Cool. Let's get it.
Let me ask you a question that is not a spoiler question, so don't worry about turning off the podcast. Have you gotten to that important temple bit? Have you gotten to the temple?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Why do people treat this like it's a spoiler? You get powers in this game.
No, I don't mean
The
that.
story is not good.
Not that,
Like,
not that.
people are like-
extra sodium, John. Today.
John, yeah, John's got a lot of sodium in it. No, not that. I'm not talking about that temple. There's a temple later on where the story, because I'm going to agree with you so far. I think that the main quest takes some time to care about. I got to a point where something happened and I had to talk to two entities, I'll put it that way without spoiling anything, that really kicked shit in the air. It was like, whoa, okay, now I kind of need to know where we're going.
Okay, no, I'm not that far.
Okay,
so
so
far I'm just collecting bits of metal. The most
you're not
interesting thing that happened is that I found a ship that we're like, oh, we've never seen a ship like this. Like that's the
yeah,
the
you were
first twist
early.
where I was like, okay, that's vaguely interesting.
Sure.
Like
Sure, and some of that is fruition of that I'm talking about, and you'll get more into whatever that mystery is. But
yeah,
I don't disagree.
They're starting to show up on planets and come after me now, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But like the like, let's go get metal, and now they've added to it. And instead of going and grabbing metal, now I also sometimes go to a temple and I float through orbs for a stupid amount of time.
Oh, there's a trick to that. There are only 4 of them, but if you let them sit too long, they dissipate and new ones form. So you have to hurry. You have to just thrust into them as soon as you see them form, and then you're done. It's like 3 or 4.
That's what I felt like I was doing, but apparently too
My first time in there, it took forever. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And I think the later ones dissipate faster. So what I did on the next ones, I just mainlined those things. It was like wham, 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 boom, done. The whole thing was done.
Who played that and
Sounds
went,
like
you know what?
lovemaking
This
advice
is
in a weird
super.
way.
This is super fun.
Oh, I don't.
You know
mind
what?
it.
You know what's super fun?
Mm.
Going into a 0G room and trying to fly into a ball before it disappears. And here's the thing. You're going to do it multiple times in one place, and then you're going to do it multiple times all over the place. Go to another temple. Guess what? More balls to fly into. What a treat.
I don't.
What
It
an
didn't bother
absolute
me.
joy that was.
That didn't bother
Floating
me.
into-
I don't know why that's
Casually
hard.
floating into balls constantly. Woo!
You just target
the
'em.
gameplay. I'm floating, and I'm like, oh, I've never been so immersed floating into balls before.
Yeah,
Um,
I get that it's a
Jamie.
little repetitive, but it's not hard or annoying. You just go and it's done.
It is annoying because why am I doing it? Because who sat down and went, this is super fun, guys. High five team all around. This is so much fun. He's casually, slowly floating into balls. We did it, y'all. Ship it.
Well, I'm not casually doing it. I am purposely flying into those orbs. I am going for it. I'm hitting thrust on my shit and going through those orbs. It's over in like no time. It doesn't seem like that big of a. It's like any repetitive thing in a video game.
It's
just,
not a big deal. It's just, but why? But why?
I mean, if you want to ask why, I guess you could say, why do I have to float into the orbs before that ring thing's in there? I think they want you to feel like, well, you've got to activate this shit. You're the one trying to find the unity, whatever it is. It's this mystery, and here you are ticking those boxes. You're not even sure why the aliens are making you do this
Maybe
stuff.
the balls are sentient.
No,
It's
they're
a
just-
reveal that's gonna happen?
I don't
No.
know. It's just, it's not a game breaker. I didn't uninstall the game. It's the only, look, before everybody gets weird, because let me tell you, people who love Starfield are really weird.
Are they?
Well-
Yes, you are so all defensive about your precious game that it is sad and upsetting. I got mad because
Oh, boy.
Bethesda, in defense of people saying that their planets were dirty and just like dirt rocks and boring, they said, you know, astronauts went to the moon and there was just rocks up there and they didn't think it was boring. And I said, that's a stupid way to defend it. To say that somebody who actually did a thing in real life didn't find something boring, therefore you, a gamer sitting at home, shouldn't find it boring too. That's a stupid defense. But because I said that, people who felt attacked because heaven forbid I don't love their game the way they love their game were like, you just don't get it. There are plenty of plans.
You got to admit,
I'm not
John,
attacking the game. I'm attacking the statement.
You got to understand.
John's trying his best to join me in the D&D penalty box.
Here's what I would say to that, because I understand that is kind of weird, but whatever. PR does what PR does. If there's any group of gamers that feel more attacked over the last 2 weeks, it's probably Starfield people, because they've been people have been telling them to their face, this game sucks, without touching it. They're just mad because it's exclusive. All those things. I would
agree with that, but you know what? Maybe pay attention to what somebody says. Am I criticizing your ball floating? Yes. So if you want to defend your ball floating, send your tweets.
Yeah.
I'm not criticizing your dirt planets.
Yeah, you are.
So don't come at me about the dirt planets.
You are criticizing those things, though, and it's obviously you're right to do that. But if somebody came to you and said, I don't know, man, Final Fantasy, especially the old ones, they make you stop everything in the middle of running somewhere. You don't even see the enemies. I just get pulled in there and fight. That's a part of those games, but people may not like that part. To me, that's this. It's just like it's a design choice.
Right, but I wouldn't tell them that they are wrong because medieval knights love jousting.
He's got a point.
That is a point, but I wouldn't. I think you should be annoyed by those, because that sounds like something you should be annoyed by. Like if I said, "Hey, what does John hate about this game yet?" I could come up with a list of 10 things that I think you probably don't like about it. All I'm not saying, "Oh, what a genius design choice to fly through these orbs and then go into the thing." I'm just saying it didn't feel like that big a deal. It didn't bother me.
That's my number one question while I've been playing Starfield is, I wonder if John hates this. Something happens and I'm like,
it's a constant wonder.
There's a little bingo card in my head of like, I think John didn't like that.
Yeah. All right, but the first look, because we're not even to the part I'm mad about yet, people. Buckle up.
This is just the prologue. Chapter 1.
The chapters as listed in our doc here. This is the part I liked. So hold on. Let me get to what I like about Starfield. Right. I stopped doing the main quest. I got on a quest to find a better ship. Because here's the problem. I landed on a planet and I was like, I should get a better ship. I think I deserve it. And I found a ship just randomly on a planet, and I tried to steal it. And the game wouldn't let me steal it. And I didn't know why. But I was like, all right. And because the game denied me that ship, a little thing went off in my head. And I was like, gotta get a new ship somehow. It's gotta happen. But while I was on board that ship, I walked in before I executed the captain to try and take his ship. They were like, "Oh, are you the courier?" And I lied and I was like, "Yep." And they said, "Great, you're early. Why are you so early?" And I was like, "I had stuff I had to do before I got here. Don't worry about it." And they're like, "Well, you need to take this and you need to deliver this package." And I was like, "Hey, I'd be happy to." So they gave me a cool spacesuit, and I was like, "Oh, nice! This is a quality spacesuit. I'm gonna wear this." So I put it on after I executed the crew, and then reloaded my save because I realized I couldn't steal the ship after I executed him. But I left with this package. Well, the people who were supposed to pick up that package, they came looking for me, and they weren't particularly happy that I took the package that was meant for them. And they weren't particularly happy that I felt entitled to keep it. And it turns out they were in really good ships. And every time they caught up to me, I was forced to run because every time I tried to fight them, they blew me up really easily.
Yeah, they're high level.
They were like level 30 ships, and I was like level 10. It wasn't going well. So I was like, I need a new ship badly.
Sure.
So I went on this quest to get a new ship. And that was fun. Like that whole exchange, stealing a package, the consequences of that decision coming back to haunt me, having to run from pirates, doing these side quests, which, by the way, here's how I know the main story of Starfield is bad. Because I've played the side quests, and the side quests are pretty good. Like, I have a compare and contrast. I know what Starfield looks like when it's good, because I've played Starfield when it looks good, and it's a hell of a lot better than when I'm doing the main story stuff. So I was doing these side quests, and they'd say, "Oh, go check out this satellite." And I'm like, "Okay." Oh shit! The people that are trying to steal their stupid spacesuit is back to me. They're waiting for me at the objective. I can't do this quest now. And it made it this really fun cat and mouse game. And then I pirated my first ship. Well, it was from a pirate, so it's all above board.
Okay. They don't. Yeah,
but
you don't get
I
penalized
got-
for that. They're not going to kill you, track you, or track you down for stealing pirate shit. They want you to do that.
I got in my first battle where I managed to disable the ship, board it, and take it over and do the "I'm the captain now, look at me." And I took the ship and I went down to a planet. I immediately customized it. I painted it purple. I called it the Shockwave, and it was a good ship.
Yeah.
It was a real good ship. I liked it. And then when those buttheads, I'm trying to roll back the language. I've been a little cursy this episode. When those buttheads showed up later, I took them out.
Yeah.
And I was like, Shockwave's a great ship. And this opened the door of like, I need a fleet.
Yeah.
I should get more ships so I have more variety. And I went on a whole quest. It's a well-known quest. I went on the Mantis quest for those that have done it. I don't know if anybody, have you done the Mantis quest, Scott?
Is that the one where names are failing?
Basically, Space Batman.
Oh yeah, no, that is on my
Space Batman.
It's on my hardcore to-do list because not only do you get a ship out of it, but you get an amazing pistol. Like an incredible, like best in slot pistol that I want real
You
bad.
also get really good armor, although you have to be okay with looking like a jackass.
Yeah, you kind of look
Space
stupid.
Batman does not look as cool as real Batman.
Well, I can tell.
But,
real quick on the armor thing. Back at the lodge where you all meet up and talk and hang out and stuff. In the basement, there is a set of armor in glass, and the glass is locked, and there's no way to hack it. And
you can if you're a master, but you don't need to.
Oh, right. Yeah, you don't need to. But anyway, I went down there. I didn't even know about this yet. I think it's an exploit, personally. But I didn't know about it. I was just down there dorking around. And I noticed as I was passing over that thing, for a split second, I was like, oh, wait a minute. I got a little bit of an inventory there. But now it says locked again. So I moved a little back the other way. Boop, little inventory for a second. I'm like, where's the sweet spot? So I found it. Ding, 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 boom.
Oh, you found the pixel and you were able to just squeeze
and
it
I
through
could
the
just
pixel?
take this. I could just take the inventory out of there, and it is an amazing suit and helmet and backpack. It's a whole set called the Mark III or Mark One.
Mark 1, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have it. I did it. I stole it as well. The Mantis armor is statistically worse in terms of pure defense, but it has 3 legendary stats on it, which the Mark 1 has no legendary abilities on it.
Right.
Which makes it slightly less, but yeah, I stole that too through the little crack in the glass. There's
it's
a little
great.
Crack. You just pull a whole spacesuit and a jetpack out of it.
And they didn't patch it out. They left it in, so apparently they want people to do
That's the
it.
jank. It's real good.
Yeah.
But anyway, I did the Mantis quest. I got another ship. I painted that and called it the Starscream. It was an even better ship. And then I watched a YouTube video because like now I'm having fun. I'm having a good time. And I watched a YouTube video of how to make the Millennium Falcon in the game. And I was like, all right, well, that's cool. They did a very good job, but I need to I want to make my own ship. I want the Shockwave to be the premier ship
Of course,
in my fleet,
with your own creativity and all that other stuff. You don't want to just paint it. I get it.
The Starscream had eclipsed it, and I needed the Shockwave to be better.
Right.
So I went and I had a mission to go to Neon anyway with a businessman to do business, as Bo is so fond of.
Yeah.
I had some
random stuff.
Neon is like a total corpo planet, very cyberpunk in there. It's actually I really like it there. But anyway, continue on your story.
And so I went on this mission, and there's a exclusive vendor on Neon. And I went up there and I was like, all right, well, they got exclusive parts. Let's put a ship together. I had amassed a small, not a lot of money, but a small fortune, enough to make a quality ship. And I spent hours working on the ship. And then I messed something up because it was my first time messing with it. And while it's fairly easy overall, there's some jankiness, weirdness to it. It definitely takes some fiddling. I went to bed in the middle of shipbuilding. I came back the next day. I was like, all right, we're gonna tackle this. I'm gonna try it again. So I went back. I rebuilt the Shockwave. It was this awesome ship. I thought it looked super cool. Finished it, bought the parts, nearly spent every amount of money that I had. Every credit to my name went into making the Shockwave. I was so excited for it. But the exclusive vendor is not at the dock where your ship spawns. The vendor is in the town. So I couldn't see it. I couldn't see the ship. I could see it in the screen. And I was like, all right, there it is. Shockwave. Make it my home ship. It'd be good. And off I went. And I was like, well, I'm here on Neon. Mr. Businessman wants to do business. So let's do that quest. So I go through this long quest chain involving the businessman doing business, and it turned into a stealth mission, which turned into a gunfight because somebody wasn't sneaking properly. And then I did some other stuff. I did another side quest, spent another day of gameplay rolling around Neon, and was like, all right, finally wrapped that up. Let's head back to the docks and take off. My ship's not at the dock.
Oh, no.
Well, let me go see. Maybe I didn't set it as my home ship. So I open up the screen. Nope. Shockwave. It was called the Shockwave 2.
Yeah.
Not on. It's there. Says it's my home ship. Okay, well, let's try switching it. Let's spawn the Starscream and then we'll just switch it out. So, okay, make the Starscream my home ship. Unload the menu. Yep, there's the Starscream. I can get aboard it. No problem. Okay, let's make Shockwave. So we put that up. Nope, no ship there. No way to board it. No way to take off. Nothing. Just a big empty landing pad. And I went, well, that's really weird. Something's buggy. Maybe I messed up the ship design or something. So I'll just spawn the Starscream so I can finish this this quest I'm on. Fly out, go do my quest, whatever. Try and spawn it at a different location. Ship still won't spawn. So now we go online.
Uh-oh. Internet.
Look it up.
Yep.
Hey, gang, anybody else have their ship just randomly disappear and you can't access it? Yep. And there's no way to recover it.
What?
The only thing you can do is load a previous save from before you built the ship, and then you'll be okay.
Oh, it has to be before you built the ship?
Yeah, you have to reload from before you built the ship. Now, had I built the ship right there and said, finish ship, spun around, no ship there, gone, oh, okay, well, I lost all that time spent on the ship, that's one thing. But because I didn't build it at the dock, I spent hours and hours questing, doing other story missions, doing other things. So for me to reload, it's not load just the time I spent on the ship. It's, do I want to go back through all this story stuff and through all the building of the ship?
Yeah,
that's what I wasn't clear when you were discussing, and it makes sense why you wouldn't want to type that all out. But I totally understand now. Like,
yeah, that sucks.
The only known fix is to go back to the old save file from Inception and redo it, and hopefully it doesn't happen a second time.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah.
Is this so? This is a known thing, but do they? So there's no fix. There's no like.
There's no fix.
Nothing.
So no matter what I do, I tried rebuilding the ship from the ground up. I tried messing with it. Nothing. It ended up just kind of. It still managed to suck more credits away. And finally, the only option I have a ship that won't spawn. I have to either decide to lose all that progress and go back to the beginning, or sell my ship, my invisible ship that I can't access. Which, by the way, because Bethesda didn't want you to have a way to make a lot of money in this game, this single player game where you can use a console command, just give yourself a lot of money if you want. Because they didn't want you to be able to make a lot of money. Selling ships does not make you any money in this game.
Yeah, I read about that. The selling of ships. There was
doesn't make any sense.
Well, no, there was a specific
It makes zero sense.
There was some specific reason, and I read it. Now I don't remember.
It's because it would make you so much money because ships are extremely expensive.
Yeah, that's
in
what
Starfield.
it is. You would just have ridiculous amounts of money when you sold every pirate ship you attacked and all that kind of stuff.
You would have enough wealth to carry you through the game pretty easily by just like boarding and selling ships.
You could just farm ships.
Well,
so I mean, it's people's games.
Ships are like 100,000 credits on the low end, and when you sell it, they give you like 1,200 for it.
Yeah.
So I sunk all my money into this ship and sold it back for like 5,000 credits or something like that. It's kind of insane. And so then I just lost all
that
my money.
That sounds like a mod. Yeah. So I imagine Scott wants to talk about his experience, but I did have
Well,
some
hold
as
on.
well for
One
myself,
last
too.
thing for me to close out my experience, because I've got one last thing here.
You're good.
Turns out I lost a lot more than just the ship, though, because last night I really wanted to play. Because again, despite how it might sound, everybody, I'm having a good time with Starfield. Calm down. I really wanted to play, but Starfield had a patch last night, apparently.
They did.
And let me tell you, Xbox Game Pass on the PC is in no rush to download a goddamn thing.
Oh, was it
I
slow
was
for you?
sitting there.
It was quick for me last night, but
I was watching it download at 100 kilobytes a second.
wow.
And then it would go to 0. And then it would go to 100. And then it would go to 60. And then it would go to 0. And
sounds like Arizona servers, probably.
I ran an internet speed test and I was getting insanely fast speeds. And then just watching this drip feed through the Xbox Game Pass, and I went,
they must have had some
I don't have
issues.
the patience for this.
Whatever server you were connected to was probably shit in the bed, probably.
Yeah.
I uninstalled the game.
Oh my gosh, what?
Oh, really? You're done with it?
I uninstalled the game, and thank you, Bo, for a wonderful birthday present. I reinstalled it on Steam, a client that downloads things with a little sense of urgency when you want to download something. So I completely restarted my Starfield playthrough because the patch wasn't downloading fast enough, and said, F it, I'm already broke. I'm starting over from the beginning anyway, and I have restarted the entire game.
Oh my gosh.
It's now on Steam.
All right. So
I was really beginning to regret. I wish I had gotten you something else. I was like, oh no.
No, now we'll play it there. I thought you were playing it there.
Final Fantasy 16 or something like that.
I thought you were playing it there, but then I guess you did the early thing. So here's the thing though. That happens to everybody, including Steam occasionally, where their servers are wonky. I don't think you can take one night servers thing and say that it's the shittiest thing you've ever used. Not that you're saying that, but
I'm not saying it's the shittiest thing ever. I'm just saying I get more consistent performance with Steam, and it made me mad in the moment. And I went, you know what? I'll just go play it on Steam.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't have it. I got that same patch and had it in, I don't know, less than a minute or something.
It's Microsoft's Arizona servers.
Is that what it is? They're hot. They're overheating because they're in Phoenix.
Something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because if yours are fine and his aren't, it has to be a state.
I will say this: I'm a little ticked at them because they're this game has been very successful so far, and their cloud servers are overwhelmed. So if you want to play this on the cloud, there's often now a little bit of a wait line, and I think that sucks. I mean, it's about capacity and whatever they got to increase it, but if you try to go play that game via cloud through xCloud on, I don't know, Steam Deck or a phone or something, it says, well, this game's really busy right now. You're about 27 people in line or something. And I think that blows because that's part of what you're paying for with Game Pass Ultimate, and it'd be nice that it worked every time right out of the gate. So I think they're having a little bit of, you know, they're a little bursting at the seams problems at the moment, so I'm not that surprised to hear that, but...
there's a lot of people that think I'm like super upset about the end of this story. Guys, let me be clear. When the ship stuff happened, I was considering restarting not uninstalling and installing on Steam, but restarting my playthrough anyway. Like, this is very much a game where I felt I wish I knew at the beginning what I know now after many hours in. Like, I restart Bethesda games all the time. Like, the ship thing bugged me. The ball floating bugs me. Restarting the game doesn't bug me that much. I restart video games all the time.
I've done it too. That feeling of, oh, I get the game now. While I'm only 10 or 20 hours in, let me start again because I don't like where things ended up.
If you guys
can't think of the game, but I've done it for sure.
Yeah. If you guys could see the number of, I mean, not anymore because I haven't played in a while, but the number of max level tunes in World of Warcraft that I've just deleted and could restore from their character restore thing, you would be sad. Like, I have a very burn it all down and walk away from the ashes attitude with a lot of things in my life, and It is very easy
surprised
for
you're
me
still
to just
playing.
go, I put 70 hours into something. I'll just throw that in the garbage and start it all over again. It doesn't bother me that much.
I am surprised you're still the ship deletion thing would have burned my ass. So kudos
That
to
did
you.
bug
That's-
me. That
yeah.
did bug me a lot.
Yeah.
The good news is the Starscream is a very good ship. Was a very good ship.
It was an awesome ship. I'm sure it was.
Scott, you're playing too. A
Oh
lot?
hell yeah, a lot. I am having the every time I talk to John about it, I don't know. I wonder if something's wrong with me because I'm having the opposite experience in this game.
It's funny listening to two of you, but John enjoys it just in a different way.
Yeah,
I
it's a
do
different
like
way.
it. There's things that bug me about it in a big way. Like, it's fine.
Well, ironically, I haven't even tried to build a ship yet. I've gone into the builder and upgraded my, the stock ship you come into the game with, but I haven't done any of that yet. I plan to, but I just haven't bothered with it. That would
Scott,
annoy
let
the
me give
living.
you a little advice. When you build a ship, go make sure
maybe
that
wait.
it's there. Just
I'm
take the
definitely
time to
not
go
gonna be
down
doing
to the
any of that.
landing pad and see.
Yeah, I'm not. I look forward to that, but I really hope whatever that is patched or addressed because that really sucks. It sounds like a known issue, so it seems like a patchable thing. And I hope what happens is eventually. Well, you're starting over, so it won't matter. But it'd be cool if people who lost their ships got them back somehow. But I haven't been doing any of that. I was told, and I remember last week even saying I was going to do this, but I was told by a bunch of people at the time, hey, what I would do is mainline this thing so you can get the New Game Plus mode because there's some real cool, and I don't want to spoil why, but it's really rad, and you want to play the game that way and then do all the side stuff. So I thought, well, maybe I'll do that. That's a mistake. It's a mistake. Here's what you should do. I think the mainline's fine, and it really is picking up. There's some stuff going on in that story that it's super intriguing to me right now. That being said, though, I'm having a blast doing all this side shit. There's so many cool side quests and so many fun, even little one-offs where one guy wants me to smuggle a painting out of a building and bring it to him into this store and sell it under the radar. It's a total fetch quest, but the story around the fetch quest, really great. Had a blast doing that. There was some subterfuge and some real iffy moments with a guard, and I got through it. I am having so much fun. It's all I want to play. It's all I mostly played, and I want to play it all the time. I'm still doing the bed thing with the Xbox PC when I'm in front of it, other Xbox in front of the TV when I'm there. Like I'm carrying all my progress around and having a wonderful time. I cannot say a bad thing about my time in the game. There's nothing that's happened to me where I've had one technical glitch, and it was a lockup on PC, and that was before the patch, and I went back to that same vendor, and I haven't had that lockup with that dialogue tree since. It seemed to be tied to that somehow. But everything else has been great. No glitches. I did have a guard walking around in her underwear for no reason, but I like that kind of jank, and not just because it was her underwear, but just because,
I like that. It sounds great to me too.
Yeah.
it's just weird. It's like,
You can
why is that
all
happening?
get behind that sort of jank. That's
But like
great.
assassination stuff has been great. I found some shit on Earth that blew my mind. I will not spoil it. I want people to discover it on their own. But this part is not a spoiler. Earth is a wreck. It's a giant desert planet now.
It's a dirt planet.
We ruined its atmosphere. It's a whole story, and there's a bunch of this in this story, why Earth went the way it did. But you got to go back and find some NASA stuff, and there's some other missions. But I found a thing, let's call it in the United States, that's as much as I'll say, that was like, oh, holy shit. Like, it really was cool. I'm having all kinds of moments like that. I find the music is incredibly enthralling to me. I love it. I love the ambient stuff that's out in space. I like space battles. I think that stuff's handled really well once you get the hang of what you're supposed to do. Make sure you take the perk that says ship targeting. It's way on the far end perks. Crucial one to get. You can level it up too.
I think we said last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, VATS would be really cool in ship-to-ship combat. And while it's not exactly VATS, it's VATS-like.
VATS-like, yeah.
It's in there. So,
Yeah.
but you do have to take a perk to get it.
You do. I think it is worth it.
If you're playing with controller, I can tell you, you press X. The game will give you this perk and not tell you how to do it, which is also frustrating. Because I had this perk at the time that I was going, I really wish this game had like VATS targeting. And I had it, but the game doesn't tell you.
Well, no, it'll tell you, but it doesn't. It doesn't
it.
tell you that that's the reason you're getting this new indicator. But in your circle, when you are fighting a ship, there's a slow meter that's saying targeting, and it's going. And when that thing fills out and blinks, it presents a tiny X there. Not tiny, but there's an X. It tells you if you're on controller or if it's E or whatever it is on PC. You hit it and you're in. But it's
right, but you're in the middle of combat
a fight, right,
where you're
right.
looking at other things. Like, put it in the perk window where you pick the perk, say unlocks targeting, press whatever button to do it.
They
like,
could do better with that, no question.
Be intuitive.
I
Like,
saw it
it's
the
not
first time,
hard.
so it never bothered me because I saw it right away. But I totally agree with you. It's obscure and it's hard to see. Anyway, once you get that, being able to zoom in and focus on their engines, because when you do that, they get stalled, and then you can board them, kill their shields first, get their engines down to where they're almost dead, board those bastards, steal their ship, take their stuff, kill their people, whatever you want to do, if that's how you're playing. But it works great in mission modes. When you're doing a mission, I need to assassinate this guy. He's in his ship. I burn down his engines, board it. There might be dialogue, or I may just kill him. Like, there's so many choices in there. Like, I know this is going to sound crazy because in my mind, I know there's a truth about 2023, and that truth is Baldur's Gate 3 is Game of the Year. But I think this will end up being my Game of the Year. And the reason I think that is I am so immersed in it.
Has Shadowheart rejected you?
Well,
Yeah,
she's still hanging on. She'll be all right. But
I have some BG3 updates. I might consummate with Shadowheart before you do.
you very well might. We've had a couple of makeout deals, but we haven't gone all the way. Plus, I totally fell off when this came out. But I'll get back to it. But this is, it just turns out this is a mix of ingredients that I glom onto hardcore. I just love this stuff. And
There's
I love
nothing
this
wrong
setting.
with having a different personal game of the year from
Yeah,
everybody
we're not going
else.
to judge you for that.
No, I know you're not.
John might, but
I mean,
I
I,
just-
will think you're wrong.
there you
but,
Of course
like,
you will. Of course you will.
But like, I respect that you have a different opinion. I just think that it's the wrong.
It's the wrong
Like,
one, right? I understand. I know where you land on this stuff, but
It's fine. It doesn't mean Scott's a bad person.
not
Doesn't
at
mean
all.
I dislike
No, we're
him.
all friends. It's
It doesn't
fine.
mean I don't even understand where he's coming from. I just think his opinion, which is completely subjective, is wrong.
but he's really enjoying Starfield.
Yeah,
Like he has none of the
hugely.
misgivings you have. I haven't seen him express a single misgiving.
I don't have any. I really don't have any. It
Because
cooked me
he's
sooner.
wearing blinders on the side that says "floating through balls" isn't that bad. of
It
a
isn't.
thing.
It's fine. It's easy.
He's
it takes
like,
2
I'm
seconds.
so fun. It's so fun to be in space touching the balls.
The
As
hardest.
someone who loves the prequels, all right. I'm not gonna. Firstly, if he loves Star Wars Starfield,
Yeah.
even with all of its flaws, then just let him. Just,
The tone
just
of it,
live and let
the-
I
live.
am
the tone-
letting him.
He
I'm
is
not
letting me.
taking it away
He's
from
not
him.
taking, and nor could he. Like, honestly, it doesn't bother me at
Yeah,
all. People,
okay.
when
All
I
right,
when I see videos or content or stuff on social media that's like, here are 10 reasons why you should hate Starfield. I can't flick past that shit fast enough. Nor can I say, I don't want to stop on the ones that say Starfield is the greatest game. I don't want to hear all you weirdos. I'm done with the internet talking. I want to play a game, and it turns out this is my effing game. I love.
I
this
have
game.
just have one question for you, like just to see if I can't find a chink in the armor, because we haven't talked about my Starfield journey this week yet. But I
Bo
definitely
played,
have.
I saw
I
it.
definitely have petty grievances, and this is one I'm curious about. But it's a petty grievance. It's kind of a thing for me.
Let's hear it.
But I hate that circle. What's up with the circle?
Oh, the scan
in
circle?
The ship. The entire time I fly in the ship, there's a damn circle on my. Can I get rid of the circle?
Well, it's
And then, like the circle, I was like, I hate this circle. It's blocking my view of space. Like, why do I got to look
it
at?
doesn't bother me
all
in that way.
fucking-
I find it very
all day?
unobtrusive because it's just a thin line. But I'm
Yeah.
sure mileage may vary. But you
Yeah,
probably
I
able to
find
mod
it-
that out at some point. You know,
That's yeah. That's what I'm thinking too. But like, I hate that thing. I hate it with a passion.
maybe there's
That
even
circle-
an option. I don't know.
I've
Let's
never
see.
played a space game with the circle so annoying. Like in my view, I'm just like, why is this circle here?
It doesn't
Please
bother.
get rid of the circle.
It
When I'm
doesn't
in third
bother
person
me.
view, it's still a circle. I'm
Yeah.
like, what's the circle?
You get it because it's
Get
part
it
of
off my screen.
It's part of the scanner bit. It's also part of that's the
I
zone
don't-
where you can
yeah, I
attack. Like
just-
if you're gonna lock on and kill somebody, you.
I
have
know
to do
there's
it in the
UI
zone.
elements, but like, it's funny that No Man's Sky comes up all the time. But I'm like, could we take a page out of Star Wars Squadrons, which has all the elements in the dash, the literal game world? Like, I think we could have put how many missiles on one of those screens in your ship. I don't think it needs to be on the HUD.
Yeah.
Like, you know, But
It'd be nice if you
I'm
could
not
turn
trying
it
to
off.
criticize it for what it isn't, but I hate the circle. The circle is, yeah, no.
You can definitely improve it
I-
by you can go HUD opacity down to 0. That'll get rid of it.
Okay.
I mean, I think there's a ton of stuff like that, and I don't think it has to necessarily ruin anybody's experience if they don't feel the same way. But I also think like it's perfectly valid to be annoyed about stuff. Like I'm annoyed that every time I switch ships, it takes all the random junk that was laying in the ship and moves it to your new ship's cargo hold. The amount of stuff I've had to jettison into space because they decorate a ship with like pencils and shit, but then I move to a new ship and they put all that in the cargo hold and it takes up the limited space in your cargo hold because you moved to one. Like that's super annoying. Like there's a ton of weird little annoying things in the game that has not stopped me from playing this game almost exclusively for the entire like 2 weeks.
Why are you picking
It's
up
what
all
I would
the
be
pencils?
doing right now if we weren't doing
Well,
this.
that's true. Same. But why are you picking up all those pencils? See, that seems like
I'm not. It's so you know how your ship is decorated,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So if you take a new ship, like let's say you board a pirate vessel and you take the ship,
Yeah.
and you land that ship and you register it and you go, okay, I want this to be my new ship. It's now my home ship. It takes all that stuff that was in your ship as a decoration and puts it in the cargo hold of your new ship.
I haven't noticed that. I have a one pirate ship that I got that I don't use, but I got it, and then I made it main for a bit. I thought it just moved over the modules and the stuff like this. I'm looking at a screen right now. If this coffee cup and this pencil and pad that are on my map screen thing in the middle of the ship, you know, the one where you can kind of plot things if you want. You're saying those items, which are separate pickupable items, those go into your cargo, not to the next map thing?
Yeah.
I wonder what that's about, because mine's not doing that. I haven't had that in my cargo at all.
It also happens if you just upgrade your ship. Like the amount of times I've gone to pick something up in space and it's gone, your cargo hold's full. And I went, from what? And I go in and it's like notebook, pen, mug. Like
Weird.
it
Something's up with
fills
that.
your cargo hold just switching ships, which as somebody that is a chronic ship switcher is a really annoying frustration that's in the game. I really don't like it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to fiddle with that, because right now that would drive me crazy, but I don't think it's happening. I've only done 2 ships, so that I don't have the ship experience to say, but I haven't run into that. My biggest concern right now is, do I romance Sarah Morgan, or do I romance the lady's name I can never remember? What's her name?
Hang on. No, so I have another thing I noticed about this game too.
Andrea, yeah.
I have another thing I noticed about this game is that also when I was talking to Sarah Morgan,
Yeah.
is it just me, or is like the distance between her teeth and her teeth and her lips like super far apart?
I mean, I'm looking.
Like I was playing, I got so distracted I didn't listen to anything she said. I was just like looking, because it looked like her teeth were, it was like a visual trick, like her teeth were so deep into her mouth that it looked like she had no teeth, or they were like a mile, and you're like
Really?
like I can't even do it, my teeth are next to my lips.
See,
But
I
her
can't-
teeth looked like they're so deep in her mouth, like it was kind of, it's like John and his fingers. I was having a John Fingers moment. I was like,
Yeah.
I just kept staring into her mouth, and I'm like, this isn't like a creepy sex thing. It's just like why is her teeth so far back in her mouth?
This must
So
have
maybe they
glitched.
aren't, and it's just a trick of the light or something. Like,
Maybe
it's-
something glitched, because I'm looking at her right now. Here's a version of it.
Scott he's got the only good copy of Starfield.
Apparently.
Nobody everything else everybody sees doesn't happen for him. And my ship is perfect. Her
Yeah, I'm
teeth
just
are where
saying,
they're
like, look
supposed
right
to
there.
be.
That's a screen grab just now
Yeah,
that I
maybe,
took.
maybe it's just if you have a 3060 or 3070. That's what happened.
30, what do I have? 3080. No, 3090 I have.
Hey, you got better teeth rendering than me.
Yeah, but
I
I'm not
guess.
having this problem on Xbox either. I have no idea. That's a weird thing. It's impossible. It's possible there's just having a glitch one-off. Maybe it's.
I wasn't going to bring it
problem.
up because I knew there was already going to be lots to nitpick, and I didn't want to add to the noise. But that was something that bugged me about Sarah.
She
I was
wants.
like, "What's up with your teeth, man?"
She's right
Man,
now.
I'm gonna feel so bad for Scott if Bo has just now created a thing. Scott, like the next time Scott plays, he's so excited and now he can't unsee it, and he's just like,
Well,
Oh,
I'm talking to
no.
her right now, and she looks totally normal.
You're playing right
No,
now,
I'm not
Scott?
playing. I fired it up so I could get a screen grab and show you. She looks fine. This screen grab that I put up on
screen
the
grab looks fine. That isn't what I saw. That's you know.
So when you looked at
Anyway,
her,
it was fine, but
where-
it was very it was very distracting. I was very distracted by it.
I would be
Like
too.
there's lots of things that bug me about the game. I think the game is greater than the sum of its parts. I'm having a good time with it. I think it is a beautiful thing. All jokes aside, although I am going to still say it in a jokey way, I think it is a beautiful thing that Scott is so in love with this game. He sees not a blemish on its perfection. It is pristine to him. Because that is what love is. It does not.
I did
it
not
does
say
not
it was
judge.
perfect. I didn't say it was
His love is
perfect.
pure.
It's
You
not.
might be interested in knowing there's a mod to make her butt more round.
Oh my gosh! Of course there
I
is.
did see.
So,
I did see
one
that.
of the things that is kind of nice about Starfield is that I don't. It's a channel I watched over the years, but MXR is back. It's a very popular YouTube channel that does Skyrim mods.
Yeah.
And it's a bit cringy, and a lot of it is nudity mods, but it's a good channel. And I watched there's 2 episodes of the MXR mods now, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's going to be a lot of great mods for this game. And the one thing I hated about Skyrim is I played it before the mods came out, so I'm like, I sort of at the end of the day, like I've uninstalled Starfield because I'm like, I'm going to wait for the mods to like fix up the game. I don't need to play this right now. I'm going to give it some time. So
Yeah. And people should if they're worried about that. I'm not.
yeah, see, there you go. Look, where's her teeth?
They're in her mouth. She's just talking.
I don't see them. Oh, there. Oh,
I
see
see
how
a
look
tooth.
like they look far away.
Well, they're. I promise they're not.
I know they're not. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I don't know, but they kind of look far away, but they're not.
This is the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
I know it's weird. I know.
It's
But
Like
fine.
he did say that it's like me and Hands in Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, yeah.
You
It's
know,
not
just
it's not a
the
serious
thing.
thing. It was just it's an observation that I got hung up on her teeth, and that shit never happens to me. It happens to John all the time. It doesn't happen to me. I got hung up on the HUD in a big way though. But
Yeah, I could see
Anyways,
that.
Oh, while we're talking about Starfield and mods, I'm gonna just give this shout out just because I think it's worthwhile. So like I said, I got into shipbuilding because I saw a video about how to make the Millennium Falcon. And there is a YouTube creator called Barden, Barden, and he's done only like 3 or 4 ship tutorials for Starfield. But I will say that as far as like ship designs go, I think like this guy is really nailing the look of the things he's making. So just a shout out to that content creator if you want. I think he's done the Millennium Falcon. He's done a couple Star Wars things. I think he did a Halo ship, and I think he did the Firefly or Serenity, I should say. And his Serenity is actually like incredible looking. Like it looks really, really good. The Millennium Falcon was impressive that you got the game to do that.
Yeah.
But the Serenity actually really looks a lot like the ship. So shout out to that creator doing good work. If you want to see their stuff, check it out. That's what got me into shipbuilding. But do it at your own risk.
Yeah, the shipbuilders actually seems like cool tools. It seems like it's a fun playground. I do hope that they solve that issue for you and others who've gone through it. Because who would want to spend 3 hours on a ship and then have the thing not flyable? That's terrible. They got to fix that. Yeah, it's just working for me across the board. I just love it. So I wish I could say that anything, you're going to have a little open world jank. That's to be expected. I haven't really experienced massive bugs, and that's unusual for the first couple of weeks of a Bethesda release. So that's nice, and it turns out is exactly what I wanted, and I'm glad because I wanted a game like this. And didn't realize they were going to give it to me as much as I am getting it. And once I got over a few of the, the quirky UI issues and some of that, and there's real issues. By the way, they came out and said their next patch is going to include DLSS 3 support natively, so you won't have to use a mod to do it for PC users. And then they're going to add a way to eat food without fumbling through your inventory to find the food you want. Basically an eat button. And what was the other option? There was something else they were going to add. Something that was big. Oh, they're going to put maps in cities. So they've heard that feedback, and I guess they agree. So they're going to do maps for the cities instead of you having to kind of look around for signs and stuff. It hasn't really bothered me, but I would welcome it. That'd be great. I'd love to be able to
I want to
highlight.
ask you guys about one part of this game too, because I know we're spending a lot of time on it, but I was curious. I also found out what the new game plus mechanic was.
Yeah.
I think Co-Carnage
Oh yeah.
did a
that you restart the
spoiler-free
game.
How do you
version,
do that?
but then
That's
I was
crazy.
like, and then I was like, I get it, but I want to understand more. So I have a full spoiler on the main storyline of that game. I know everything that happens because I was curious about this. He hyped up the new game mechanic that I needed to know more, and I don't know. I just want to know what you guys thought about it because I didn't. It doesn't sound great on paper, but maybe
I
it's
think
cool.
the biggest problem for me with it is that it has really muddied the waters between people being precious about spoilers and like giving bad advice. Like I watched some of Co-Carnage's coverage as well. I think he's a really great creator and doing some good work with Starfield. But like he even said people had told him rush through the main story of the game, get to New Game Plus. That's the best way to do it. He did that, and then he put out a video saying, "I really wish I hadn't done that."
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
Like it bummed him out, and I think that's the biggest problem is that it has, because of the way it's set up. The spoiler-free version is this: when you do New Game Plus, you basically restart the game. There are differences, there are changes, there's continued level progression, but you're going to lose your base, you're going to lose your ships, you're going to be resetting the story to a degree.
If you spent 200 hours building custom stuff, telling your own
gone.
story,
Yeah.
it's gone. And I'm like,
well, literally
really
new
is-
game. It's New Game Plus. That doesn't surprise me that that's
it
what
doesn't
happens.
surprise me, but it's just I'd rather just start a new character in an RPG. Like I'm doing a new playthrough in Baldur's Gate. Like I don't need a new game plus, right? Because I'm telling a new story with a new. Like why would I want to play the same character again?
Well, it's
like
not
part
even
of
the
the
same
appeal of playing
character,
again is
though.
playing like playing a different class, playing a different background. Like
Yeah, I agree with you.
So,
But and that's
yeah.
that's the reason I'm playing it that way, and I'm not going to do this rush thing. But I think you still can do that. You just end up with a bunch of power you wouldn't have had.
your character crosses over. Still, you still have your perks and levels and stuff like that.
Oh,
your
so that-
character
your perks
stays.
and levels, but then
Yeah.
you start over the game. So you do get an opportunity to play a different. Like I kind of think there is an element of
Just New Game
cool like
Plus.
to it because like you say like it's kind of like you said, Bo. I want to
Well,
do different.
I had
things.
to spoil myself to understand why I'm keeping my same character, but nothing else.
But you
And
could,
it's
because
a-
you're doing the game over again, you could go through it as a dickhead the second time.
No, but you know how like when you in your character creation, like what if I want to play a girl this time?
Oh, I see. Like you want to, yeah.
Like what if I
Well,
want
then,
to
yeah,
play
you
as
would
a
have to start-
sculptor instead of a criminal? Like how much does that matter? Like in an RPG, but like I say, in Baldur's Gate, I'm like I want to play again, but try a paladin. What's that like? Like
This is like
Why-
John and his our Resident Evil runs. It's just you want to start the game over, but be super powerful. That's all this is. It's just a New Game Plus. I don't know.
no, there's more. See, the thing is, there's more to it. It's tied to the main. There's story involved in the new game.
Yeah,
Plus.
you are technically. I think it's what is
So-
it? 10, did you see? Is it 10 times? That you
Someone
gotta go
I heard
through it?
someone said they went through it 16 times.
Jeez.
And I might say a word. I might say one word that is it's spoilery. If you're listening, duck out. Scott, I don't even know if you want to know, but
I don't.
just say you don't.
No.
I'm just gonna. I can just if I say one word, it'll all click for you. What's going on with the new game plus?
Oh, really?
But I don't know if you want to know that one.
All right,
word
I'm going to
or
mute.
not. I don't-
I'll mute the chat. You know what? I'm going to mute the show, and Jabot's going to say, I don't actually care if you say the word. So let me mute the show though, because I don't want them to get spoiled.
I think you'll want to know because I think it'll help you
Well,
decide.
people can just cover their ears. It's one word.
Yeah.
Just like
All right.
everybody off your ears.
Okay,
cut
and
'em
three,
off.
3, 2, 1. Bo's going to say the word. I'll count it down. All right, 3,
Okay.
2, 1.
Multiple universes or multiverse.
Okay.
That's the word.
Okay.
Multiverse.
All right. You can come back
Okay.
now, everybody.
Yeah.
Even though he said more than one word.
That's it. So, well, I mean, it's a compound word, so I said the two words
right.
and then put one word.
And then say it
But
one
that
more
is
time.
it's
Yeah.
essentially so when you experience the new game plus,
Yeah.
you will experience time barf, Nash Maggard. Like we've done this in There Will Be Dungeons. Like
Yeah.
we know, there was brown Nash and red Nash, and the different Nashes, Tower Nash. You know, you had different Nashes.
Yeah.
That is also what you're participating in. So it doesn't. So New Game Plus in a vacuum is like, do I want to play Elden Ring over again, but it's harder? That's it. That's the. Do you want to play it? Like, I'm done the game. Yeah, I'll play it again. This
So in other words,
is like,
it's kind of not what you're saying, Scott, because you're saying it's New Game Plus, so it should be a new game, but it's also kind of not a new game because you're still somewhat locked into who you were.
What would be cool is if so tell me this if you know this or not. When I start New Game Plus,
riddle me this, Batman.
can I spec differently? I can change who I am anytime. I go to one of those salons and you can be a woman, you can be a man, you can change your color, you can change your hair, you can change stuff completely about your character. So I'm not worried about that.
oh, that could be if there's respecking and the gene therapy, then maybe you could also fix that stuff.
I think
I don't
the
know.
my
only
question.
thing you would be locked into, just thinking about it, I think the only thing you would be locked into, unless you know differently on this, Scott, would be when you pick your previous skill, whatever. Like I picked bounty hunter, and I've also been like a space scoundrel, right? You get dialogue specific to that job.
That's true.
Now, the traits don't matter because at a certain point, you're going to max out your traits. There's no level cap, so it really doesn't matter. There's no reason that you would need to pick that. But you do get dialogue specific to your job.
Right.
You wouldn't be getting the ability to reset that. You would still, if you started as a bounty hunter, you're once a bounty hunter, always.
So that baseline stuff I wouldn't be able to change, but if I wanted to do a stealth run on my New Game Plus, I could because you would be able to do those stats again. That's different. So I don't think that sounds that bad because you could, Bo, in theory, you play one where you're this really cool ship guy, you finish the game, and everyone loves you and you save the universe. You go in the second time and you're like, I want to be a scoundrel a-hole and I want to be a short lady with a slightly different name. You can do all that. That is already a thing. In the game right now, I can go to a salon or one of these digital gene salons, spend 700 credits, and completely do over character creation anytime.
Yeah.
So the game has that.
I guess there's going to be people that are fans of this game that are going to want a New Game Plus. I just assume a playthrough is about 100 to 200 hours. I'm just not it's it's a tough sell to say, do you want to do it again?
Yeah.
I need someone to play through it, and I need specifics to decide whether that time investment's just with all the games that are coming out, right? Like, but my understanding is it's kind of integral to the story in some way. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
I
don't think it's I don't get the impression it's a you save the universe. Do you want a New Game Plus? I get the impression it's a we've just unraveled the mystery. Now it's only the beginning. And I'm like, how many times do you want me to play this game?
I mean, I'm okay with it if it's compelling. That's all I would need.
Yeah, I guess that's the question. It's like we're not going to know until we get there and decide. Like that's where I try not to spoil everything, but that's where I kept having questions. I'm like, oh, it isn't just start the game over again. It's part of the MSQ, but to what extent does it feel optional?
Well,
what do they want from me here?
Well, that's why I'm not going to rush there anymore. That is no longer my plan at all. Not only because I'm enjoying it, so much more to just sort of go, that guy's got a question. We're going to find out what his deal is, and then get involved in some really cool sideline corpo shit I didn't see coming. And so that's how I'm playing it. And if I get to the very end and I go, wow, I can't believe they're going to let me do that when I start over, and I get to these things can all change, whatever, then yeah, I'll do it again if that sounds compelling.
Coke Carnage says there's two games in one. One is a roguelike where you keep going to New Game Plus and you go through it quickly, and the other one's the typical Bethesda game where you just do a bunch of side stuff.
Okay.
But I think on a New Game Plus, you're not going to want 100% all the little side adventures every time. Is sort of
right. It would get faster and faster because you're like, I've seen the side stuff. I don't need to do it.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. But then the advice to skip side stuff and go straight to end seems to counter that. Like,
well, and also I'm hearing.
Well, I think they're saying that because new stuff does unlock on that second run. So they're saying don't do all your content before your second run because there's stuff that's only going to be on the second run. So, like, there's a reason for both sides of the advice. This is why I don't like it. Is just how muddy the waters are on it. Like, because I don't think there is universally good advice. Like, I think the people that told, for example, with what Coke Carnage said, I think people who told him that weren't trying to ruin his gameplay experience. I think those are people that genuinely thought that was the best way to play it for how they wanted to experience it, but that's not how he wanted to experience it. So I think that that's the issue, is like telling somebody, hey, mainline the story and get to New Game Plus as soon as possible. Like, that's going to be great advice for some people. But for other people, like, I don't know if I would even do a New Game Plus playthrough on this game. So I might as well do all the content that's in the game now, because I don't even know if I'm going to want to continue a second time.
Well, part of the problem is it's just gamers telling gamers what to do. You know, it's like we got to, for real, like who's telling everyone to do New Game Plus and rush to it? Other gamers. Who's saying don't do that? Other gamers. Like, I'm just going to play this game and go where I go. Like, F everybody. That's the one thing I've never been so sick of discourse, if you want to call it that, online around a video game than I have this game. And it's tied to all sorts of things. Exclusivity on Xbox, no longer PlayStation. That's a whole faction of anger. There's all this other stuff, 30 frames on console. What's that about? Like, F all of it for me. I am playing this game and I'm reporting here how I like it or what I don't like. And that's as good as you people are going to get. Because I don't want to be, I'm so, everybody just, go look at the sheer amount of video thumbnails on YouTube right now. And I know this is not new. We talk about it with Blizzard all the time, but everyone's making a face like that and had giant words next to it saying, don't play Starfield unless you're ready for this revelation. It's like F off, everyone.
Yeah,
F off.
I just opened YouTube and the second video is Todd Howard looking sad by the Spiffing Brit, who I don't follow or subscribe to. Starfield is a perfectly balanced game with no exploits or bugs, and everyone's, you know what I mean? Like, it's as soon as my algorithm opens up, it's got a new video for me shitting on Starfield.
Yeah, I hate it. Like, or the ones that are overly praising it. I'm just not interested in any of those voices anymore. And I understand that's the world we live in. This is what we got. But I think most of these bits of advice, and part of the reason, John, that it's so muddy, because I agree with you, it is we are making it muddy. Not we, three of us, but the player base, whether even people who aren't playing it, that zeitgeist is making it muddy. They're putting water and dirt together and making mud. And that's the way it is.
Guys, I got such a better YouTube algorithm than either one of you.
Tell me what you get. What do you got on your main page?
I opened it up, my #1 video, Transformers Kingdom Leader Class Galvatron review, and ranking 100 Bumblebee designs from worst to best.
Wow. You know, I think that's
and
great.
The Phantom Liberty trailer that we're going to talk about later.
John, look what mine is. Look at mine is. First one's Core, showing live right now. That's cool.
Yeah, I should say the #1 for me is Core.
Then your Frog Wrestling is very next for me.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
really? That's great.
#2.
Yeah,
yep.
Look at that. Oh, man, yours is pretty good. Yours is great.
All kinds of music, and there's a Mortal Kombat
watch
story
that Baldur's Gate
cutscene.
one. It's pretty good.
The Baldur's Gate one is really good. I like that.
You can tell I'm avoiding a lot of controversy.
You want to watch all the Mortal Kombat 1 cutscenes?
Those are fun to watch. I like watching that stuff.
Yeah,
They are good.
But I don't get a lot. I mean, I'm getting a lot of Starfield stuff, but it's like lo-fi beats. Here's some more music. I do a lot of music on YouTube, so I think that's part of why it's video game music in particular.
Yeah, your algorithm looks great. Holy shit.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of a-holes. And I think it's just because even just lately, I'm just like, I don't want to talk
What
to
am I doing
I
in
don't
my
want to
life?
hear these people.
I've got Moist Critical talking about a mysterious hole. That one will be a watch for sure. I want to know about a mysterious
Who's
hole.
Moist Critical? I don't even know who that is. Is that a popular
Just a
YouTuber?
online person.
Okay.
Bo knows who he is.
Yeah, he's a popular YouTuber.
He just talks.
He's a gamer.
Apparently
He's one of those
talk
gamers.
about a hole, a mysterious hole.
Sweet. I like mysterious holes, unless they have to be consenting holes, or I'm not in. Forget
I've
it.
got the pitch meeting for Cats.
What?
The movie Cats.
Yeah, I don't know.
It looks like the most controversial thing is the worst comic book covers ever. That's the most like, oh no, this is the worst comic book covers ever right here.
And I know, for example, so I watch shorts sometimes or TikToks, and for whatever reason, I get a lot of Asmongold Gold on there. And it seems to me the only thing I ever see him doing is reacting to something else. Is that all he does now? Or is he doing like
Pretty
full
much.
streams of things?
Pretty much.
Because he's usually just like, "Oh, this guy said he found a thing. Oh, look at that. That's the dumbest move I'd ever make as a gamer." And then it's over. And I'm not ripping on him.
I'd say it's about 2/3 of the content.
Okay, well that it must pay. That must be good. That must be what people want, and fine. You know.
I mean, yeah, he's a millionaire. He said,
fine.
like I've seen him where he's like, I make millions. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
And part of the joke is he actually does live like he's on welfare. Like he does he's a very slothy person from what I can tell.
Yeah,
but
and that's all fine. Whatever. Like I'm
just.
just.
I mean, hey, if you're getting paid,
I don't care.
It makes sense in a certain. Why would he change for anyone? If you're getting paid doing what you're doing, then hey.
I'm just trying to think what part of our brains is being tweaked when all it is reaction stuff. I don't know why people
I gotta say, I like React content. Not necessarily that, but I mean, like, I do watch a lot of like this person's reaction to Ahsoka or whatever. I think, especially due to this really kicked off during COVID. This is going down a weird rabbit hole, but like, especially during COVID where it was harder to get around and hang out with people. I think by nature, us as human beings, we want to not only consume content, but we want to share it with others.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that like, oh, they're watching the video that I watched. And like, it's almost like it leans into that. What is it? I can't think of the term.
You're talking about
you're not friends, but you kind of behave like you're friends. Parasocial relationship of it. Mm. It's like, it kind of leans into that. It's like, oh, I got this to watch with someone and see how somebody's doing. Like it is what it is. It's not going to be for everybody, but I understand the appeal of it. And if it's working for someone,
yeah,
if you got real people to hang out with, you need it less.
Yeah.
Like,
but that's what we're doing here. We're doing a form of it. Like we're not doing a short 3-minute React video, but we're doing a thing where it's long form audio and video where we talk about stuff and our feelings, quote unquote, reactions to things. It's a different kind, but it's still in that vein. I totally get that.
It's
I guess I was
principle,
yeah, I guess I was just curious about like, I don't know. It seems like it's almost 90% negative, and maybe that's part of it.
Like there are times when I watch a movie and my first thought is like, man, I wish Cord watched movies together.
Yeah.
Like there's some movies where I watch it and I'm like, man, why?
Scott hasn't that film sack?
Why don't we just get together and watch movies?
John.
Yeah, but I know what he means. Like it would be.
I'm gonna just start showing up to film sack recordings. Hi guys.
I know what you guys mean though. It's funny because almost everyone I work with, I wish I watched movies with because I like everyone's reactions. I like that stuff. So I guess that's it. And even those can be sometimes negative, but every time I see one of his videos, it's always just ripping on shit.
Ripping, I think you can talk for longer ripping than not, right? Like if you like something, you can only say so much and it's kind of done. But when you're kind of in that hole, like we've done it here too, where it's just like it's endless. Like I just feel like when you feel critical of something, it's kind of just easier to fill up time.
I guess so.
The snowball builds when you're frustrated. When you're happy, the snowball doesn't build.
That's true, I guess.
Like it's like we started this conversation about me being like, let me tell you about the fun I found in Starfield. Then we spent 30 minutes telling why I don't like floating into balls. Like it just happens. Like
if I had to judge what your opinion was based on just the negative things you said, I would say like you definitely hate this game and have uninstalled. But the actual punchline is you're playing a second time and you're finding the fun and dig it, right?
Yeah, I think it's a genuinely good game. I would say for me, like last week, I gave it a number. I said I felt like the 7 out of 10 was a real good answer. I think for me, if I was going to try and give a broad review for Starfield, I think I still would say like, assume it.
Is it just John?
Yeah, I think it's just John. Sorry, John. Go again.
No.
You had a brief glitch where your score was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the government.
All of a sudden, my connection went real low.
Yeah. You're back now, though. I'm sure that wasn't why Xbox PC.
Todd Howard got on there. He's like, he's got to give Starfield a score. Shut him down. Shut him down now.
Yeah, that was perfect timing.
Anyway, what I was saying is, I think for like, if I was going to try and give a general recommendation, I'd give Starfield a 7 out of 10. For a recommend.
Did it again.
Yeah, I think somebody's watching Netflix.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Every time you go to give your verdict, the internet just cuts out.
It's an 8. It's an 8.
All right,
an 8 out of 10 for me.
You got it in. I would
Okay,
give
now
it.
everybody else talk for.
Here's
a
my
while. Apparently
honest-
Todd Howard's mad at me.
Here's my honest number. I think this explained your Game Pass yesterday. Just saying. But anyway, I was gonna say, I think that I would give it a 9.8. I'm that high on it. I wouldn't give it a 10. I don't give anything a 10, but I think I would give this really high marks. 9.8 feels right
Give
to
it a
me.
10, just Scott.
I mean, I
Don't
may as
withhold
well. I
the
may as well
10s.
round up, but I don't know. I just, I got to
Just
be.
give it a 10.
I got to give it a little honesty. Like the truth of it is, it has not been since, gosh, probably either Fallout New Vegas or Skyrim that I felt this strongly about a Bethesda title. And to me, they just hit all the buttons I needed to be hit.
You'd rather have them work in this IP than in Fallout or Elder Scrolls?
I
Don't
want
you
them to
think
do
this
them all.
This IP is a big win.
I want them to do them all, but I think this has staying power as much as any of them has. And what I like about it is it's an original IP. Fallout was taken from something else. Skyrim is basically dark fantasy.
How about a 10 minus?
What does that mean? 10 minus?
even know.
Like a
It's not 10. It's,
It's
like
just weird to say I don't give out 10s. Then why doesn't your scale to only go up to 9?
I don't know if I've ever played a game that I would. I mean, scores are stupid, right?
yeah, they are.
But it's impossible
so
for me to say, oh, there's something that's so perfect. There's absolutely the highest point it can be. I don't think that exists. I just don't know what game that is.
Yeah, but I mean,
I
Baldur's
think that's
Gate's
a
not
problem
perfect,
with your
and it's a 10.
metric. It doesn't have to be perfect to be a 10. It just has to be a 10 to you. You can say Starfield is a 10 to you, and that's fine.
All right, I'll call it. It's a 10 to me. Done. I've done it.
There you go.
Yeah, it was painless. I could say it, and nothing happened. Nothing fell in the.
Well, yeah, because you were giving it a 10, your first 10 ever.
Yeah, I might.
It's going to go on the back of the box now. Todd's going to be like, he said it was a 10.
This
and
might
it's
be
the
my
only one he
first
ever gave.
the first 10 I've given, or that I would call my own personal 10 since like Wind Waker or something like that. Like it's been a bit since I've been able to call a game that much, how much I'm enjoying it. And those out there who aren't, this is not a slight at you. This is not me saying you're a poo-poo. It's just how I feel, and I really like it, and I hope you do too. And if you don't, well, all right, something else will come down the line. But this
I'm
seems
sure
really
I'll like
rad.
it. I just need a bit of time.
No, I get it. Where you're at with it makes total sense to me. Like what you said last week and stuff. I totally get it.
I'm not in the right headspace for it. That's all. It's not the game's fault.
Let us know what you think about your playthrough so far. Everybody, you know how to get a hold of us. I'll tell you about one other game I did play a little bit of time with. I had my Steam Deck out for times I couldn't play.
Oh, well, let's hope you warned people
This
first.
game. I did try to play on cloud the other night and couldn't. That's why I fired this up. And I want to thank the dev for sending me a code. Yes, I informed them there are 3 people on core. That didn't seem to. I never got a reply to that.
They
They're
didn't
like,
care. They're
no.
like, that's nice.
Maybe we
Whatever.
shouldn't get you to say that because they're gonna probably tell you the truth, which is like, yeah, whatever.
I don't know. Well, they just know.
you're the only person with any influence. On
I have a habit of playing the game type they sent me, and I think that's probably why. It's
Yeah.
like when I get Chorecore games, but this one in particular, I'm very pleased with. This is called Fae Farm, FAE Farm. It is what you think it is. It's another one of these, farmer sim type things, except it's not really about farming. It's more like Stardew Valley. It's about relationships in town. It's like building your stuff, chopping down trees, survival elements, all that kind of stuff. For some reason, this video is choppy. There we go. And it's one of those. But what sets it apart is there's some magic involved, some combat, which is pretty interesting. But what I love about it the most is all the things that bug me, even in Animal Crossing, the things that bug me in those games about, I'm trying to get this rock. I got to switch to a pickaxe. Oh, there it is. Okay, now I can pickaxe. Oh, there's a tree right next to it. Oh, let me switch to my hatchet. Blah, blah, blah. This has some like really cool quality of life improvements on that front. So if
This
I'm
came out September 8th.
yes. It's still no, it came out on the 8th, right. Because today's 14th, yeah, so it's out. If you want to chop a tree, you just have the general tools up, and then it will be the tool you need to get the tree down. You still have to own these things, but it will just know. If you're going to be pulling up stones, it will know to turn to the pickaxe, and if you turn to the right and are about to chop some weeds down, it knows that the scythe is the thing that needs to be done there. It's not making you micromanage your freaking tool selection, and I hate that. This game's really great at that. So I appreciate those little touches. And also I think the animation is really great. Character animation in particular is super solid. And yeah, I haven't played too much. I played enough to know that I like it so far, and I think it feels really good. It's also reviewing well, and I expect this thing to be a bit of a hit in that weird little space of Stardew Valley-ish games, and I quite like it. Also, if you fall over from, or no, when you've exhausted your energy, you don't just fall over and lose all your shit like you do in Stardew. It's much more forgiving. You just run out of energy and just go back to town and go to sleep. If you and health and stuff like that, you can make your own potions, so you're always keeping your health up. There's just lots of ways to kind of counter what I felt was monotonous about things like Stardew Valley. It's an amazing game, but there's some stuff in there that could use tweaks. This game is like, hey, what if we made that game but added a bunch of tweaks, and also had a really nice 3D style, and the menus are really nice looking, and
seems it's also got some like fighting in it and stuff.
Yeah, there's definitely got fights. I fought some mimics in a cave. That was fun. And I'm not even that far, but I'm far enough to know that I think I'm going to keep at this. There's also really interesting crafting going on, and it's deeper than most of these games. It's not just about growing crops and taking them into town and selling them or whatever. There's more to that loop. It's cool. It's called Fae Farm, available now on PC at least. I think other stuff's coming, but it's on PC to start. On Steam is where I got it. And I paid more. Cool. Xenotilt, I just want to say to a few people who are in the community that are on my Steam list, we didn't know this was going to happen, but we were competing on some score stuff, and it's fun as crap to do that. So Xenotilt, amazing still. I talked about it last week. Great little pinball machine game thing that is rad, but also competing with some of you out there has been delightful. And currently I have the high score. So good luck, everyone.
What about the have you been
humble
tried
brag
that
at the end?
There's like that frog pants football thing going around.
Oh yeah, right. Did we? I think we talked about it last week. If I didn't,
did we talk about it? I can't remember.
Can't remember either. But I want to.
I don't think we talked about.
I'm glad you brought it up, because all people need to do. I set this whole thing up, so it's real easy. Go to frogpants.com/football, and you will be brought to a page where you can very quickly download a hacked ROM of Tecmo Bowl for the NES. And by hacked, I just mean, he went in there and tweaked it. And he added team names that are all Frog Pants related, lots of core references in there. We're all in there as players. You can choose us. You can choose yourselves if you're patrons. A bunch of patrons made it in there just for funsies. And it is the same old awesome Tecmo Bowl. And Wooj Man, who made this, did an incredible job. So on that page, I also have a link to a place where you can donate to him if you're enjoying it. And if you are, please consider that, because that guy's rad. I'm going to pull it up real quick so I can show people. It is frogpants.com/football. And when you go there, there's a nice little banner, a place to download the ROM, and support Wooj Man at the bottom, and a whole big download button. It's really cool. So check it out, especially if you're into retro. And if you like Tecmo Bowl as much as I do, then you'll really enjoy it. Thanks for bringing that up. All right, John, let's move over to Frog Wrestling Update for the week of the 14th. I've no idea what happened Wednesday, so fill us in.
Well, you are still out injured, Scott. We wish you a big recovery in Frog Wrestling. Bo attempted to continue
avoiding
his revenge streak. He hit a bit of a snag going up against Brian Ibbett. Had a little trouble getting revenge on old Brian Ibbett.
Brian's a tough opponent for sure.
He's a tough opponent. Bo has really struggled against Brian Ibbett. Ibbett seems to usually find a way to pull out a victory there. But we're continuing our women's tournament to determine who the #1 contender for the Frog Pants women's title is going to be. And it looks like it's going to be either Kim or Martha.
Oh, man. Wow.
So they're going to be fighting next week.
That's all I need to. She'll be home from Mississippi. I'm going to make her watch that with me. That'll be fun.
And we had a fantastic title match for the tag team titles at the end of the show. That's what you're showing right now. We had a surprise tag team duo of Stanley Billings and Diane Tallis challenging Patrick Beja and Randy Jordan, who are our current
Patrick Beja looks like Patrick
TMS tag titles.
It's uncanny.
Yeah, you're Patrick Beja, the face anyway. Freaking.
Geez. I looked over at the core preview screen and I saw I was like, damn, he looks pretty spot on.
You nailed it. Nailed it, dude. That's crazy.
I'm going to say this about Patrick. Patrick is currently undefeated in Frog Wrestling. He
Really?
hasn't had a ton of matches.
Yeah.
But he has yet to lose in a tag or singles match. He is a secret beast in this game. I am constantly impressed at what Patrick manages to achieve. It's frightening. It is really, really frightening.
You never count out the French before you're done. This is the lesson.
Yeah.
Yep. They'll come back.
He's a force to be reckoned with. So lots of fun there to be had. I did announce, so I don't have dates yet. This is early talk, but I'll go ahead and let people know here too. The plan. I am going to be doing a viewer Royal Rumble. And the way this is going to work, because the numbers are very limited, is I'm going to be selling slots to be in the viewer Royal Rumble. There's going to be a very cheap option where basically it's your name. You're going to be a ninja or something. You don't get a whole bunch of customization. You just get to be a named ninja. But there will be there will be a more expensive tier where I'll make a custom character. It takes a long time. So I can't do this for everybody. It would be a lot of work.
Yeah.
And we're going to do a viewer Royal Rumble. The winner of whoever wins that will get their own title that's going to actually be based on the belt that was gifted to me, as close to it as I can get. So that'll be the viewer title. Mm-hmm. And then I think what I'm going to do, Scott, if you're behind it, because I mean, you're the champ, is I think whichever viewer wins the viewer Royal Rumble, I'm going to give them a title shot against you.
Which
if they win, they're going to be a regular on the show at that point. They have to be. They're the champion.
Yeah.
So a lot of opportunities there for some viewers. It is one of the more requested things, is like, how can I be a part of it? How can I be in this? So I want to do something like that. It's just figuring out the logistics of how to do all of it is a little tricky. And so I will give more information when I know on that. But
I would like to I want to call out Unity one more and say, this is how you do a cool scheme to get people involved and maybe a little scratch on top of it instead of screwing people over. This is a great idea. I love this. I mean, it's obviously small scale and it's John's stream, but I'm just saying, this is a great idea.
Yeah. Oh, we gotta figure out a way to get people in there, and also a way to justify the amount of time it's gonna take to get people in there, because it takes a little bit.
Exactly.
I'm also gonna listen to. I had a listener suggestion a while back to do a video about everything that goes into character creation. I still need to reach out to Dan and see if he's okay with being the guinea pig for that. But I think he's gonna be the next person I add, and I think he'll be the one I do the video around.
Dan, the tabletop man? That Dan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that Dan.
Yeah, he'll love it. I bet he will be all in. This is great. Always fun to get updates. The stuff is live on Twitch on Wednesdays at Craftless Rogue, and then on YouTube, same name afterwards. So check it out. All right, Bo, I've been itching to hear you talk about Raven's Watch because I almost bought it.
I got a good one this week. Holy smokes. Came out of nowhere.
Tell me more.
So in my not playing of Starfield, I did have a craving to play something other than Starfield or Baldur's Gate 3, which I'm still playing, but needed a break.
Yeah.
I was shopping and I just took a chance on this. I had no idea I was going to like it this much. I just needed something new. Purchased Raven's Watch. So this is by the makers of the Curse of the Dead Gods, which I haven't played, but is a roguelike and the same
love that game.
as Hades.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a well-received game. Looked interesting. Missed me, but Raven's Watch, what is it? So there's a new genre of game that's kind of coming out. Evercore Heroes is another game in the style where it's the PvE modes in Heroes of the Storm.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a game that is that, but roguelike. So basically, it's mobile-like controls, except they're more this game has V Rising, so it's WASD for movement, and then QE and the mouse buttons for abilities. Probably adapts real good to a controller, so you don't have to do keyboard mouse. You probably do controller. But it's designed for a team of up to 4 players to play online together. These awesome MOBA-like heroes that have talents. Every time you level up, you get a Heroes of the Storm style talent. There's a shop. It's like a PvE environment, but you can teleport back to the shop, upgrade your talents, and get items. and you go around and you have, it's like Vampire Survivors in the sense that you got 20 minutes on the map, actually 18 minutes on the map, to go and do objectives on the map to power up and level up, you know, as a team. After 18 minutes, you get summoned to the boss, you do the boss. The game's in early access. There's only chapter 1 and 2. In the full game, there'll be chapters 1, 2, 3, and then a final encounter. And you might be saying, well, if you beat it once, what happens? Well, it has also Slay the Spire Ascension mechanics. So you keep playing the game, but on harder and harder difficulties as a crew. I don't think this game is designed to be like 100 hours a week for years on end kind of game. But as a fun multiplayer experience, I think you probably get some really good sessions out of this with we enjoyed the PvE in Heroes of the Storm, but it was very basic. And this is a full-fledged like game. What I really appreciate about this game is that the heroes are well designed. So there's a day and night cycle, and in the video preview we're showing I'm playing as Scarlet, who's my favorite character. And it's basically Red Riding Hood who transforms into the Big Bad Wolf at night. So and the Big Bad Wolf plays like Greymane. It's awesome. And her human form plays kind of like Valera. You got a little charge, you got knives, and right now there are 7 heroes in the game, I want to say, and they all play so differently. One of them, the mermaid character, has a ball, and if you go into sing mode, then you control the ball and not her. She's stationary, and if you're about to get hit, you gotta bring the ball back to her and move around. It's so creative. Like the actual heroes themselves are so creative and fun, and each one of them, it's like Heroes of the Storm. I want to play them all because I'm learning to be good with all of them. Like there's a I suck with this character kind of feeling, and then as you get better, you get better. You level up the heroes outside of games, which gives you access in the metagame to new talents and items as well. So there's also a progression outside the game as well as inside the game. This game is amazing. I've been playing it every day since I started playing it. This is like, it's not, I'm not going to say game of the year, but it's like one of my favorite things I've played all year. I really love this game, and I can only play it with certain people because most of the people that play games with can't play MOBA style games at all. It'd have to be you guys and Kyle and Kristen.
I'm interested in this.
But I would love to have one session is like 40 minutes. Like I've completed chapters 1 and 2. It's not a long game. Like we could all get together for an hour and just play.
Yeah.
It's super cool. I love this game.
Well, you had me at their I absolutely love Curse of the Dead Gods. That's a rad game.
Yeah,
I didn't know that was them. Now I'm definitely getting this because they really killed it.
It's made with quality. Like it's everything seems polished. The art and animation's beautiful. All the heroes have a grim a fairy tale theme, right? It's like Red Riding Hood, Geppetto. I think you'd like Geppetto. Geppetto makes little Pinocchios, and then you use your hammer and hit the Pinocchios into the bad guys.
All right.
Geppetto's awesome. There's a mermaid. There's you can play as Aladdin. And then there's like a Beowulf. Like there's like a Norse sword and dragon guy. He's all right. I don't really like playing him that much. There's an Ice Queen. The Ice Queen is like their version of Jaina, like all ice attacks. It's amazing, really good. And the other hero is there's a Pied Piper.
Oh, really?
And he plays musical notes at enemies, and then he has rats follow him, and you command the rats to attack. It's awesome. Yeah. It's so good. Like the heroes, like I'm shocked that it's as good as it is. Like I thought I bought this. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna play it, maybe probably not like it, and I can't believe how much I like the package. The only thing I'm worried about is they're only gonna do 3 chapters, and I'm like, I want you guys to do 1,000 chapters.
Maybe they'll do more after launch or something.
Yeah, maybe. And I wrote a review too on Steam, which I normally don't do, but they responded to me as well, and they appreciated my feedback, which you do sometimes see that kind of stuff. So it was just cool to get a developer response. Yeah. But I'm a big fan of this game. Like it's not gonna blow anyone's balls off or anything. But for a MOBA, like the PvE MOBA space is not like something you get a lot of games in. So this is like definitely. From the Heroes of the Storm stuff, I'm just like, oh man, I really want this to be good, and I'd love to see lots of games like this, and I'm glad this exists. Yeah. And I hope I can convince people to play with me because it's fun.
It seems great. That's Raven's Watch, $19.99 on Steam, and right now there's a sale on their other game, the Dead Gods game. That's only $6.99. Do not sleep on that. That's a good deal.
All right, so a few other updates because I want to talk about Baldur's Gate 3, but I know we got to get to the break soon.
Yeah.
the Baldur's Gate the evil playthrough just gets better and better. Have I told you guys? I can't remember what I said last week, but Shadowheart killed Lae'zel, slit her throat.
Good.
I let the goblins attack,
Yeah.
and Will left my party, and Asterion killed Will.
Jeez.
So Will's dead.
Oh, jeez.
Gosh,
And
dang.
Minthara like goes full Anakin Skywalker. If you win, like at the gate, she kills all the children. Everything dies. And who else? Someone else got pissed off during that. I lost another one. Oh yeah, Karlak. While Karlak, I didn't have to kill her. She's basically told me to F off. Like I won a persuasion, and I didn't have to kill her. But she's probably going to fight me at some point, so I don't have Karlak in.
It's important to know that anybody hears this thinking, I don't want to hear about this. These are not inevitabilities. These are Bo's. Your run as an evil run is going to play different than Bo's.
It's really playing the evil one is really interesting because it changes the game so dramatically in minor ways. Like the reason why I shared this clip with you, Scott, is because there's a fight with some gnolls, right?
Yeah.
So if you kind of go full evil and use your illithid powers, you can make the leader of the gnolls, because he has an insatiable hunger. She needs to feed. You're like, well, feed on the other gnolls. So she'll attack. She's not your ally, but she'll attack all the gnolls. Then when all the gnolls are dead and she's done feeding, she says, I still have an insatiable hunger and I must feed. So now I'm trying to convince her to eat herself. And if you make 2 successful wisdom rolls, she will kill herself.
Wow.
And I'm like, I am so evil. I'm like, except Asterion's doing it, but Asterion's my brother in crime, let me tell you. He's like,
I'll bet he is.
He's into it.
He's basically like my brother from another mother here. Everything that's like bad he wants to do. But what's interesting is the influence that your decisions have on the party members, because in my first playthrough, Shadowheart becomes a paragon of good, like a good guy. Shadowheart in my current playthrough, A, is an asshole, and B, is kind of into me really hard. And I'm like, oh, she likes men that are bad for her. Oh, that's why Scott's like being such a nice guy.
This
And
is
I'm
why
like,
Scott's failing out so
yeah,
hard.
he's the
Now
nice
we
guy
see.
that the woman's like, whatever, and then she goes off to date an asshole, because let me tell you, letting her kill Lae'zel was the best thing I ever did for my sex life. You know what I mean? Like,
Wow.
it's,
Scott was so nice to her, he got friend zoned all the way to outer space.
Yeah.
and this is like, I'm not saying this as in like I'm enjoying this or this is a good thing, but it's a learning experience. My whole plan was Shadowheart, because Minthara banged me, and then she hit it and quit it, and I got to go chase her at Moonrise Towers.
Yeah.
She doesn't join you for Act 2, just to let you know.
Wow.
I thought she was, but maybe later she'll join up. But Shadowheart after that was like super into bad boys, and like I'm super bad. And my whole plan, because I know the whole game, I can't pretend I don't know the whole game, even though I try to make decisions like I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
My whole plan with her is to, make her love me so she'll do whatever I want, and then ultimately abuse her by sending her down the path of Shar.
Oh,
And like, I don't
man.
know kind of what happens, but like I'm using her.
Yeah.
I'm not really in love with her, but it's useful to have people who will do my bidding, and I have to use honeyed words to do it. It's like, it makes me feel awful. Like, I'm glad I feel awful. It's a good thing, right? Like,
I feel
Sure.
awful every time
I'm
I
enjoying,
play
but
this game.
sometimes I'm just like, oh man, we killed all the kids, right? And then so I run into Karlak, and Karlak's like, I know what you did. And she's like, you better get the fuck out of my sight. She takes her hammer, and I win a check so she doesn't fight me.
Yeah.
But she hates my guts. Like, I am worse. I am, and it hurts I'm like, oh, this hurts. Karlak. I don't like Karlak not liking me. It sucks.
Yeah. You like her.
Um,
I
but-
know that would be the hardest thing for me. Like, I would love to see an evil playthrough, but the second like I either had to let Karlak die or let her down, I'd be like, well, that's it.
Evil's hard in
I
this
gotta
one.
uninstall the game.
Because it's not like you join it's not evil as in you join a bunch of people with different colored costumes, like, the Star Wars MMO, right? I pick Sith, so I'm hanging out with dudes in black cloaks versus dudes in white and gray cloaks. Like, it's like, it's the same thing, but you have to live with the shitty consequences of your decisions. So yeah, and just fun stuff's happening. I discovered, the Zentarim in Act 1. how there's like Joe Rugen is like it's a character named Rugen. I just call him Joe Rugen even because it makes me laugh. You save him from the gnolls, right? But because I didn't save him, I ran away and let the gnolls kill him.
Yeah.
I got his treasure, and one of the treasures is a potion with a stopper in it that hides a beholder inside.
Okay,
So
thank goodness we can finally talk about that. I asked you about this like a month ago, by the
I
way.
never found it. I was a good guy. I didn't mess with
I
his
was so
info.
sad because I didn't want to spoil it. It was very early in the game, and I was like, I don't know if you remember, but I asked you, I was like, hey, did you get a mysterious potion bottle?
Oh, you might have. I remember.
and
You might have.
so
I never got it in my first
I can
playthrough.
finally tell this story, especially because you said what was in it. Now it's not a
Yeah.
spoiler for me to talk about it. I got that potion and I failed my Arcana check to identify what it was. I had no idea what this
Oh.
potion was, and I was pretty like I had just gotten it, and I was hanging out at camp, and I was like, "Well, I guess let me try opening it." And I opened the potion in camp, and a friggin' beholder spawns at camp. And I was like, holy crap,
Yeah.
what is this? And the good thing, the thing that lucked out for me is I opened it at camp, and because I was at camp, all of my team was there to help fight it. You know, like you get help from everybody. But I did end up reloading that save, and there was a fight late in the game that was I had a very hard time with. It was kind of resolving a major storyline for Shadowheart. I think you can probably infer when that was. It's like wrapping up a mystery for her. There's a fight that I just had a hell of a time beating. I don't know why. Every other fight I was stomping through, but that one I kept losing. And I was like, oh yeah, I still got that beholder potion. And I threw it during that fight and made half the room fight a beholder for the whole thing. And that's how I ended up winning it. And it was glorious. What a wonderful thing that was.
Yeah, so that's why I also opened it at camp, but I have Scratch in this playthrough for some reason. My creepy evil guy really likes the dog. The beholder will kill Scratch first. I did the fight twice, and he'll just like instantly rail the dog immediately.
Damn, really?
And also, I'm like, this is my second playthrough. It doesn't have to be that canonical. I have a beholder bomb. I figured it out. I just reloaded the save and I'm saving. I don't care to justify it. I'm like, whatever. Yeah. It was cool though. Like I'm like, it's really early in the game that you can get a beholder. I'm sure you could sneak and just throw it at any enemy you just want to pulverize without fighting it. It's kind of sick. This game's full of secrets.
Yeah, stuff you're gonna see your fourth time through. You'll still find things. That sounds like
that's a really nice touch though. But man, it's a shocking moment when you're like, there's a ball. I thought it was gonna be a genie or a sweet NPC. I passed the Arcana check, but it doesn't tell you what's in it. It just says it's something's inside this potion.
Oh, okay. So I wasn't gonna get much more information. I didn't get anything. It was just like, it looks like a bottle. Like that. Thanks. Great. Let's open it. This is great. This is good news.
Their design or their take on the creature design for a beholder is so freaking cool. Like, look at the rows of teeth on that thing. That's badass.
And there's so very few of them. I think in total I saw maybe 3 in my first playthrough. You know, there aren't many of them. But they are pretty sick.
Bill DeLong in the chat says, drop it in the grove and call it a day.
Well, part of me, since it's an evil playthrough, I'm probably going to throw it in the public in like Baldur's Gate somewhere. Just like let one rip right in the streets.
You got to, dude.
I guess it is worth... Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it is worth saying before we get a bunch of corrections. It is technically a spectator, not a full beholder.
Yeah, beholder is
that is
going
to be a detail that everybody's gonna get on, but yes, same principle.
Still cool,
same principle.
Right? It's still cool.
Yeah, but
awesome.
And that's my evil playthrough. I look forward. I probably want to do like a compilation of all the best moments and just throw that up on YouTube when I'm done.
That'd be great. Yeah,
because most people did a good playthrough, so there's like things you're like, oh, so that's what happens. That's terrible. It's truly awful.
Yeah.
And the multiplayer game continues. Not much to talk about there, except there was a very fun moment where our bimbo, or I should say himbo, wizard tried to enlarge someone and said, "Here, I'm going to help you," and then shrunk him instead. And we all laughed at him for about about 5 minutes straight. It's pretty funny.
Why? Who's playing the wizard?
Well, Mike is, but he's like, "Here, let me help you." But he doesn't play that many games. He might even be listening. He likes listening to Core. Hi, Michael, if you're listening.
Hi, Mike.
But he's like, "Here, let me help the barbarian," and he goes to cast enlarge. I'm gonna make you bigger, and then the barbarian shrinks. And then he's like, "Why? How did that happen?" Ah! And we were all laughing so hard. Like, such a good wizard, man. He's so good.
That's great. Love it.
So that was a very funny moment. Our multiplayer game.
Very nice. I'm glad that's continuing as well.
Yeah.
All right, we are going to take a break. When we come back from this break, we're going to do a Dear Martha. We got some other news. Sony had a state of play today, by the way. I had no time to catch that or the Nintendo Direct.
Nintendo had a Direct.
Yeah, there was a lot today, and it just didn't fit within.
I don't think
anyone's
they were
schedule.
too meaty. They had stuff, but
It's mostly stuff we knew about. There's a couple of weird standouts.
I think all the big stuff you sent to me anyways. I'm surprised you didn't watch it because you sent me the Cyberpunk thing.
Yeah.
And someone else sent me the Final Fantasy one. And I'm like, those are kind of the...
That Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty trailer is rad. We'll talk about that. And a whole bunch of other stuff. Plus we got a text and an email and a whole bunch of calls to play at the end of the show. We got all kinds of stuff. So stick around. We'll be back in about 5. We'll see you then.
I have a Coke Zero.
Oh, same here. That's what I had tonight.
Zero sugar.
Nicely done. All right, we're back, and thank you for your patience, everyone. We're going to continue on down the road. Real quick before we get to Dear Martha, I forgot to play this earlier, but my daughter works at the University of Utah in the games department. They have a whole games degree up there. She actually got one of those degrees, and she also works for them right now. And while there, somebody in the company did a cameo for... You can do that. You can pay a celebrity to say happy birthday or whatever. But they got Asterion, the guy who plays him, the voice actor, to do one for everybody there. And it was for the whole staff. But for some reason, they kept mentioning Carter a lot. Or he did. So I'm just going to play part of it. This is only like 13 seconds. I edited it down a little bit. But check out this Asterion call from Baldur's Gate 3.
My name's Astarion, and you must be Carter. Carter. Gather your party, all of you, including Carter, and venture forth.
I thought that was
awesome.
Great. I don't know
The whole
why.
video was very cool.
Don't know why he fixated on her name, but he did. Okay, let's do Dear Martha. John, explain this to me because you've got something set up here today, and I don't know what it is. So,
We're going a bit long, so I think instead of turning it into a game show, which was part of the plan, I think I'm just going to we're just going to say it for what it is. This is the Dear Martha Core Edition.
Oh.
I have pulled the first Steam reviews that each of us wrote in Steam.
Oh,
And
no.
I'm going to present those today as
Wait,
the review.
the
Now I
game
will
show?
add a
Do we have to
slight.
guess?
I will add a slight guess. See if you can tell me which game you think you wrote this for. Okay.
I do very
Alright.
few, but it's been so long, I don't remember. So this will be fun. I like
I'm
this.
worried.
I'll
It was
start
definitely
with
something stupid for me.
Don't look. Don't cheat. Don't look.
I'm not
You'll
looking.
Find out
I
soon
just
enough.
know.
I
Alright,
will
so I'm
also say, and I feel a little bad because he's clearly already a little embarrassed by it. I do have a fourth bonus one for Bo.
I'm sure it's
So-
bad. I don't know what it is, but I'm just sure it's stupid.
All right,
All right. I'm ready to go.
here we go.
My dearest Martha, seriously, one of the most addicting and fun games I've played. Yours in this life and the next, John.
So that was you?
That was me.
What
That was
was-
my first Steam review I ever wrote, one of 2, and it is for Rogue Legacy.
Rogue Legacy, really? That's a great game.
Good review. Good review.
Yeah, I like
Nothing,
it.
no
And
embarrassment there.
I
That's
also
great.
agree with it. It's a fantastic game. 2's also very good. Yeah.
All right, let's get Bo next.
Okay.
Here we go. My dearest Martha, one of my favorite games. Very immersive and fun. Play in the dark. Yours in this life and the next.
Oh, I know what game this is. Doom 3.
Is
No,
it?
it's not Doom.
It's not
3.
Doom 3.
Dead Space. Dead Space.
It's Dead Space. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. I wouldn't
I
have
know.
guessed Dead Space.
It was the whole thing playing in the dark for me for a while.
Really? You
I
did
just
that
don't
recently.
do it anymore. Like I'd black out as much as I could of the room and just monitor glow.
You did that with something recently-ish, though, didn't you? What am I thinking of?
I mean, we played Dead Space, but
I don't remember. You were in the dark in a stream for something. I don't remember what it was. All right.
Oh, I know what you're. Yeah, I did darken at
What
some
was
point.
that? I don't remember the game. Anyway.
I don't remember either.
All right, John, lay it on. Is this me now? This next
Yep.
one? Okay.
Time for yours, Scott.
All right.
My dearest Martha, simply can't beat the price. Yours in this life and the next, Scott.
And we're so vanilla, dude. We're so-
Gosh dang it, that's lame. Okay, let me think about what that might have been. Can you give me a year range? Like what?
This was from June 4th, 2011.
11.
Oh wow!
Can't
It's like
beat the
13
price.
years ago.
Was it free or something?
Blur,
I have no idea.
Blur.
Blur? No, I had Blur on PlayStation 3, I think. What it?
Just while Scott thinks, Bo's review was from July 8th, 2011, and mine was from July 11th of 2013.
2013. Boy, you held out a lot longer than the rest of us on reviews. 3 years. What was I playing in 2011 that I would have said that about the price?
Next hint I'll give you is you had played 9.1 hours at the time of review, and you have 13.7 hours on record now.
On total.
And what was his review again? Very fun.
Simply can't beat the price.
I don't
Could be
know.
anything.
I give up. I really don't know.
That
be
is your
anything.
review for Red Faction Gorilla.
Oh man!
Oh,
I have
that's
a lot.
the game you like.
I have a
right?
lot
Yeah.
more hours in it now because it's the remastered version of that. I played a ton of that thing recently, like in the last couple years. And I don't know why I would have said the price. It must have been like on sale for $1 or who knows what.
You know, a timeless review. Can't beat the price.
Yeah, a price that always goes down only for a short amount of time and then goes up again. What a great review for me to tell everybody what a great price it was.
Thanks,
We
Scott.
were all new to it.
Yeah,
Yep.
I guess so. All right, that was awesome.
All right, one last bonus review from Bo. Because I wanted to do our first, but I read this and I was like, I want to read this review for Bo because it's just funny. But it wasn't his first, so I'm just gonna throw it on here, and it goes like this.
All right.
My dearest Martha, improves Odge the First, a must play. Yours in this life and the next.
I assume it means on the first, not Odge the first, right? That's what it
Yep,
must
that
mean.
is our second review, Bo, from the same day as your first review when you reviewed Dead Space 2.
Wow.
Oh, it's my Dead Space 2 review.
Yep, you apparently wanted to fire these off pretty quick. Because you posted both of them on July 8th.
So wait,
Oh,
you
maybe
did-
I was
did-
like,
did-
maybe I was like, I should review things and did a couple of reviews or something like that.
must have, yeah.
That's Dead Space 2.
There are probably what
Improves
Alright.
Odge the First. a
three.
must-
I'll bet I've done like 3 reviews total in the entirety of Steam, maybe.
Oh no, you've done
more
more
than
than that.
more than that, really?
You've done more than that.
That
sir.
shocks
I think You're
me.
in double. I think you're in double digits. I believe.
Oh well, then I'm mindless. Well, clearly I mindlessly
I
do
have
it.
2.
Mhm.
I've done the one I read and one which also got read on because I wrote it as a joke for Dear Martha once.
Mm.
You've done 12 reviews, Scott.
12? Jeez.
Yep.
How do you
Your
find
most
these?
Your most recent review was Elder Scrolls Online, where you wrote, "I always come back."
That's true. I did.
A very cryptic review from Scott.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you go to your profile page,
Yeah, I'm there
in
now.
Steam, and then you go to the right, it says reviews and the number. I've done 31 apparently.
Reviews.
Oh, I did
there it
write
is.
improves OJ the First. That's what I wrote, OJ.
Oh, there it is. August 2nd. I always come back. I do remember doing that. Tavern Master. I wrote Great Little Sim. I'm really boring on my reviews.
Scott has wrote one long review, and it's a not recommended. Which honestly, that's good because if you're gonna say something bad, you should at least say why.
Yeah.
When he wrote a bad review for Lightcam 100 FPS game capture,
Oh yeah.
and wrote.
It sucked.
Needs a lot of work. I think there's potential, but lots of bugs and strange behaviors. Crashing things is not unusual, and the file converter appears to be broken entirely. We'll have to see how it shapes up with updates down the road.
Yeah.
Which I guess you did check, because you had 1.6 hours at the time of review, and you made it to 1.8 hours.
Yeah,
So
I tried. I checked back in. I gave up eventually. But boy, the one on here that makes me the saddest is I reviewed Hawken, which is no longer on Steam. I love this game. Something about it, the heft of the mechs, the strength of the maps. Don't know, but I can't get enough. I wrote in 2014. I stand by those words. That game was rad. They gave up too quick on support. I hate where that went. Anyway. Well, that was a fun. This is great. I didn't know you could even look at these. So this is great.
Yeah, it was new for me too.
Yeah.
It's great.
This is why Steam's just so far ahead on the Epic Store. They just have 1 billion points of data for everything. I love that. All right, well done. Let's get to the other news of note. Got a few things here. Sony State of Play happened. Brought to you by the F word. That was definitely
I
a
wrote
thing.
that just because, like, 2 trailers in, they'd said it like 3 or 4 times.
Did we see anything that jumped? For me, it was all stuff we knew about. So it didn't really seem like... And they said that, for the record. They warned us. It's not a downside to say that, but I didn't see anything that blew my mind, except maybe that weird walking simulator where you had to, like, make the feet move and the guy kept falling in the mud and spitting mud out.
Yeah, that was weird. That was a weird one to open the show with, I feel like.
Yeah.
It made me chuckle, but I don't know. I didn't see anything that sold me on stuff that I wasn't already sold on.
Yeah.
Obviously I'm excited for Final Fantasy VII. Excited for Spider-Man. They showed costumes in that game, which is...
Yeah, that looked
I think
great.
if you're a true Spider-Man fan, you are a costume connoisseur to a degree.
They also said it was, 2 times the size of the previous game, or, well, the previous Spider-Man game, not Miles Morales on its own, but the Spider-Man 1 game, doubling the size of New York. So that's kind of cool. And there's these new web wings they showed off that let you travel much faster, so you can cover that ground better. And then what was the release? Oh, February for Rebirth. So
yeah.
Look forward to that.
That's a lot. I mean, that's sooner than I expected.
Resident Evil 4 got
surprised.
Resident Evil 4 getting that Separate Ways thing. Yeah.
I forgot. Separate Ways got announced for Resident Evil 4. I nearly missed this, and this is why I forgot about it, was because it was on part of the PSVR 2 showcase, showing that game was coming to PSVR 2, and I tuned out. But then they tacked on Separate Ways DLC for Resident Evil 4 coming out, and I was like, oh, wait, something I care about is here at the end.
Yeah. Oh, and
that's cool.
The game we were talking about earlier, just for the record, is Baby Steps. It's this learn how to walk thing, and it's from that dude that made Getting Over It, that weird, like, he's in a pot with the big hammer.
Yeah.
It's a 2D thing, and I think isn't he the Q-Wop guy from back in the day? I think it is. He really parlayed that piece of shit into a career. Holy crap.
I don't know, man, but I think that game, it doesn't look like it's for me, but I suspect a lot of your favorite streamers will probably be making content out of it.
Probably. And Bo, for you, they did Ghostbusters Rise of the Ghost Lord VR coming to PlayStation.
Yeah, that's coming to Quest.
Oh, it is?
As well. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's not exclusive. The Resident Evil one, I think, is going to be an exclusive, though, which it does look interesting. But
something.
I'm not spending $1,000 when I already have a headset. I'll be playing Bulletstorm VR.
There you go.
Which I don't. Did we talk about that? I think we did. Yeah,
I think so.
That's coming up for me for later.
They also did a Nintendo Direct, or I should say Nintendo did. The biggest announcement from that for me is Paper Mario Thousand Year Door for the GameCube is getting an HD remaster. I love that game. Love that game. So that's cool. And they got a new Mario versus Donkey Kong coming out, which is there was an old GBA game.
Isn't it a remaster?
Is it also a remaster? Let's see here.
Did you guys mention
it's the remake of the original game released in 2004?
So it is a remake. Oh, there it is. Okay.
It's also a remake. It's a lot of remakes and stuff. Like, not to say that it's bad. Obviously, I'm really, really excited for Super Mario RPG, which is a remake as well. I think that looks great. They are making some slight modifications to it. So, that I think that's a cool thing to play with too. There was the Princess Peach game, which is an original game. But it almost feels like this is the most. I mean, we already know that devs are getting looks at what the Switch 2 is, and we've been talking about it a little bit week to week. This is maybe the most evidence that we're getting close to Switch 2 business, because it was just like, we're remaking a bunch of stuff. Enjoy it. We're busy over here with other things.
Yeah. Just trying to see if there's anything else that jumped. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Bunch of JRPG stuff as well.
War Tales is coming to Switch, which I thought was a fun little. I mean, I don't think I need to buy it on there, but I thought it was interesting. Anyways.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that is a weird port of that.
I like
right?
that game a lot.
Yeah, need to get back to it. It's another amazing one. Technically released this year, right? Out of 1.0.
Yeah. It was a 1.0 this year.
That's right.
And it's still a really good game. It's just been upstaged by Diablo 4 and et cetera, et cetera. But
well, the one that I got the most excited about was the Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty launch trailer. It's a story trailer, and it looked freaking great.
Even if you don't like the game, just a good bit of cinema, I suppose, like just a nice little trailer.
Yeah, it looked great.
Yeah.
You got Idris Elba's computer version of himself in here, and there's a bunch of story. It seems like there's some double crossing going on, to say the least.
I mean, it's made me really interested to start knowing about the story. Like, they have alluded to it being like a government plot, and in previous trailers, but this is like actually a bit of concrete story. It's 7 years ago. He's leaving the city, getting free, and he gets betrayed at the last second. Fast forward 7 years, and a rocket flies at the president's spaceship.
Yep.
And I'm like, what's going on? What's the story? I'm like, I'm really like, this is a good hook.
Yeah, I'd watch this movie.
The mocap,
yeah, heartburn. Yeah,
it's Idris, but it's computer graphics, but like, god damn, it's like well done. Like
it is insane. Like it doesn't even lightly rub the uncanny valley. Like I just watched it and was like, oh, it's Idris Elba. But I also knew it was CG. But I also was just like, no, it's just Idris Elba.
We're like
it's really weird.
Yeah,
we're in the Canny Mountain now.
Yeah,
the Canny Mountain.
It's cool though, because like he's got that smirk, kind of squint thing he does with his face.
It's just they've like nailed almost every facial muscle. Like, it's so hard to tell.
It's really
you can
good.
still tell, but it's like as good as I've ever seen it. Anyways,
I loved it.
I mean, like, they convey so much emotion from the face, which is hard to do. If you're a good actor, you can do it in real life. But this is like it's not only that, but it's also animated, and it's still like you can see so much on his face that's telling this story through just expression. Like, it's really, really good. It's shockingly
even
well
on
done.
the Netrunner's face too. It's Miso, I think her name is, or something like that, or Somi. Because there's betrayal brewing, and you can kind of see it in the face, and like, it's well written, you want to say it's well acted. Like, if these are performers, like, very convincing.
It is, yeah.
And I'm like, because you see the micro expressions as you know what's going on before the character does. And there's almost like a hint of satisfaction in her face when she does it. She's like smiling, but like they see the context is like they're friends or close, or it's a betrayal, right? And he doesn't have a clue. And then as he's piecing it together, just that part too where he tries to leave and he's like, "What's going on?" Yeah. The encounter at the end's brutal. It's just so good.
It's real cool. Just so people don't get all weird about it, this is a pre-rendered trailer. I do not expect this level of detail in the game, but yeah, just so people.
They had one for launch too. It's the DLC version of that. It's the marketing trailer.
Yeah,
it's really good though.
And it looks awesome. I'm very excited about that. What's the date on that anyway?
Like a week or two.
It's like, isn't it like next? Oh, well, the 2.0 update they confirmed is coming on the 21st.
Yeah, which is like a week.
And I would assume that is either
but Phantom Liberty
is
in September sometime. I'm pretty sure.
Well, 2.0 is definitely this month.
September 26th.
Oh,
okay, yeah. So the 2.0 update is going to be on the 21st. That is in 1 week. And if you're playing Cyberpunk, you'll get all the stuff that's going to be in that. And then the following Tuesday is when the expansion itself hits.
So you have 12 days to finish Starfield, do the new game plus.
I mean, this might be the thing that peels me away a bit because I am very excited about this. If anything, Starfield's helped fuel my excitement because there's some parallels. When I go to Neon, I'm like, ooh, Cyberpunk.
I just want to know
Neon looks like I loaded up Cyberpunk suddenly in the middle of the game. Like, it genuinely feels like playing that game.
Especially on my TV, it's really good. What's the color thing? HDR color stuff, and it really pops, and you immediately go, "Oh my gosh, is John Wick going to show up and yell at me? Is Johnny Silverhand going to be all pissed?" It feels like that in there, but yeah.
I don't know if there's ever been a game. Now, there were parts I wasn't, but a game I was so wrong about than Cyberpunk.
Oh yeah, well, what we played finally was a lot better than what we would have played day one.
Yes. That's why I say I can't just be like, wow, what a immediately wrong opinion. Like, there was credibility to it, but I thought that I, through the bugs and through the issues, knew what was there, and that part I was wrong on. That game is genuinely something real special.
Now, we normally don't like talking about phones, but Apple did an event and they showed off native gaming on the iPhone, specifically speaking of Resident Evil 4, that's on there, remake anyway. They showed Assassin's Creed, the new one, Mirage, Death Stranding. The thing is beefy. It can run these games and do so well. It's not surprising given how well other ARM chips are doing in the world right now, like stuff that's on the Steam Deck, and the M1, M2 based Macs are really fast. So it doesn't surprise me that this is happening. I still don't want to play those things on a phone, but they're coming for those who do. So this touchscreen controls were not discussed on stage because I'm sure it's a nightmare from hell. Because think about what all those games use, all those buttons and stuff and triggers and everything. However, Bluetooth controllers and whatever this thing is USB-C now, so that'd have to be a new one, but the new, what are they called? Backbones and stuff. Yeah, those will all do it. So something to look forward to if you're a big phone gamer. The quick follow-up, I put this in here today because I just noticed it in Steam when I launched it today. Dune Spice Wars came out out of early access 1.0. I'm excited to get back in there and see what they've done. There's some consternation on the site that the devs didn't include a full campaign as promised, but the devs are saying, well, no, the plan was we're gonna give that, but it's gonna come over time. So there's some confusion between the devs and the audience, and I don't know who's right or whatever.
I mean, I'll tell you my hot take on it. If you're going to call your game 1.0, it should be feature complete.
It should be whatever you promised in your whatever you promised should be there. Yes, yeah. I agree. If there's confusion about what they promised, that's a different issue, and I'd have to see what that means. But if they said, "Hey, we'll have a full campaign," and it's not there at launch, I think that's bad. That's bad.
Yeah, then you're not at 1.0 yet. You're at 1.0 when the game is complete and it is out.
I want to play that game.
Doesn't mean you can't patch it. Doesn't mean you can't fix it. Doesn't mean you can't add to it. But if you're going to tell me that the game is out, then it needs to be complete.
Or say, we couldn't do it. Here's what we have. Something. Messaging just needed to be better, I think, is what needed to happen here.
Scott's like, or not.
Or, no, I mean, they should. John's not
I'm
wrong.
drawing a very hard line in the sand, and Scott's softening it up for him. But I think if you say, I think the closest to acceptable is what Blizzard did with StarCraft. The game hadn't come out yet, and then they said we're dividing it into 2 expansions, and even that, or 3 games total.
I didn't love that.
Even that was a little weird, but at least you weren't putting it out as early access and all of that. It gets muddy, but I think that if you're gonna say 1.0 release, let's all celebrate and do it, and your game isn't complete, then you're chasing numbers for being 1.0, and you're not actually releasing a game, which is what that 1.0 should symbolize.
That's fair. I can't argue with that. I think that's fair. I am going to install it and check it out, see what's up. I already owned it, so we'll see what's up. Xbox launched Game Pass Core. Kind of buried this story, but it's kind of a big deal. It is essentially replacing games with gold. It's a more suitable to where things are at right now kind of solution. Oh man, this website.
They
sucks.
contacted us about the royalties for using our show name. And
Yeah, I was gonna ask you guys how you felt about Core getting used.
I want 20 cents per install.
I mean, I will say they're not fully capitalizing the core, right? So there is that piece of branding they're ducking.
Yeah, it's not
we
so
all
bad.
know that Core Us is all caps. That's
Right.
just that's a fact. It's always been that way.
Yeah,
But
they're lowercase Core. Those bastards.
You know, Phil continues to pretend like he doesn't listen, but real quick to steal that name.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the idea, though. Xbox Series S, X, and Xbox One players will have access to this tier, and this tier includes, is it 36 games? I can't remember the... Oh, yeah, 36 games available at launch, and it's a big smattering of games. The price is $9.99. This is like an equivalent to what you get with PlayStation Plus Basic. It's similar to that if you're trying to look for a comparison, if you're not sure what this means. It includes a ton of games like Among Us, Astroneer, Celeste, Dead Cells, the Dishonored games, Doom, Fallout 4, Fallout 76, Forza Horizon 4, Halo 5, a ton of this stuff, plus a bunch of third party. So 36 games. None of them are Starfield. They may be, it may be one day, but it's like, you know, Sony had Spider-Man in theirs and then took it out. So it's not unheard of to not have your hot business in your low tier. But yeah, it seems like actually a decent entry level. I don't think it sounds too bad. There are 400 games in Game Pass Ultimate, or the next level of Game Pass. So if you're looking for quantity over these, I would probably go with that. Anyway, $9 a month, $6.99 in euros, or no, sorry, pounds in the UK. And there you have it. All right. That's it for extra news. Let's do a little correspondence.
That's a good question.
Here's an email for Bo, mostly.
Hi.
Hello. In honor of Bo going full-time in October, I'd like to officially petition to refer to this October as Octoberfest. I think I said it right. Love you guys. Love the show. Thanks for all you do, Matt. What do you think, Bo? Oktoberfest.
Well, talk to the calendar committee of the world and get them to change it.
Excellent.
I mean, how do we change the calendar? Like, who's in control of it?
The Jesuits. That's who started it back in the 18.
Like, we just all got to call these months the months they are. What if we need to change the name?
When did the Gregorian calendar happen in 1580s? That's how old it is, and it was.
I mean, we can keep the system. I just mean, you know, what if ExxonMobil wants to sponsor the month of September? Can we call it ExxonMobil September now?
No, Bo. No, Court Bo showed up at the end to give him bad ideas.
Well, I mean, if we can call October October, then we can definitely call December Activision Blizzard December.
Sure, why not?
ABK December. I'm just making a joke.
I thought
I love that. Thank you.
I thought we'd have more details. Blah, I can't talk on the final signing of the contract and the ABK thing going through, but I feel like we haven't heard anything. It's weird to me.
I think it's like we're getting closer. If it's like it's behind the scenes business now happening. Like I'm assuming it's done.
Pretty much done, yeah.
Because wasn't there was one thing.
Just got
Didn't
real quiet.
Phil Spencer just take shots at Bobby Kotick somewhere in the press? Maybe we covered it already.
Did he? I don't remember talking about that.
Yeah, at Gamescom, someone was like, Blizzard or whatever, and Phil's like, well, I run everything. Something like that. Yeah, you didn't hear about this?
I don't remember the time.
I know think we talked about it on the show.
Did we?
Okay, we might have talked
we
about
did,
it.
yeah.
I don't remember this at all.
I don't know, but I know at Gamescom there was an interview. It wasn't directly, but there was a question about the leadership at ABK. And Phil was like, well, they're part of Microsoft now, so they'll do what Microsoft wants or something like that.
Damn.
Something like that.
All right. Well, shots fired then, I guess.
But, yeah.
Here's a text we got from an anonymous listener, 801-471-0462, the infamous 10 hams number. And he said this, hey, Core Crew, I have never played Half-Life 2. That is all.
That's okay.
You never played Half-Life 2?
I mean, I would want to play Half-Life 2.
No, well, perfect. This is perfect. You can now play it in VR.
Oh.
Get yourself a VR headset.
Wow.
Play Half-Life 2 VR.
God.
And then you can play it. The VR2 VR modders are working on the RTX upgrade. So wait till the RTX reshade or whatever they call it is done.
Yeah.
and get the best possible version of Half-Life 2. It's great in VR. It's a good Half-Life 2 is a great VR mod.
Yeah,
Two very different answers from John saying that's fine and Bo saying, "Let me tell you how you can spend $500 on this video game."
You should buy. Maybe don't buy a Quest 2. Maybe wait for Quest 3. But it's worth it.
Yeah,
and then play Alex.
Just have $500 at the handy for this thing you've never played. Be ready.
I mean, save it. It's coming out next summer probably. You got time, so save your De Niro and get it.
Callous guy in the chat says he's playing it right now. Sorry.
I've had a lot of bad hot takes this episode that I'm sure I'm not going to hear anything about. So here's another one.
All right.
You don't have to play Half-Life 2.
Oh, I don't know about that.
You don't.
I mean, if you've never
just
played
saying,
it,
if you want to experience a part of gaming history, that's not a bad one.
If you want to, sure, go ahead. But if you're doing it simply because you haven't, you don't need to.
Well, he said he's never played it. That is all. So maybe that is the end all be all of his intent here.
Yeah, he's already not going to play it. I don't know.
I'm just saying, if he's gonna play it, there's a better way to play it than vanilla. Is all I'm saying.
Well, yes, probably is a good point, and it doesn't look great anymore like it used to. But I still think it's such a singular experience. I love that. I
think it's probably gonna look good with the RTX business, though, right?
Yeah,
like
it does. Yeah.
I wish, and the fact that version's available for the VR mod is going to be even better. Yeah. I'm thrilled. But
AI texture up-res stuff looked really good.
Another thing, just to mention, it was Steam's 20th anniversary this week.
That's right.
And there were a few good sales. Portal 1 and Portal 2 were on sale for $1. Half-Life 2 cost you $1. Maybe buy it for $1. I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah. Buy it.
Yeah, just get it. By the way, we are only a month away. No, I'm sorry. 2 months away from both the Nintendo DS 20-year anniversary and World of Warcraft, official release anyway, 20-year anniversary. Big anniversaries coming up. Yeah.
A lot of 20 years.
It's a big
I've been thinking about...
Oh, that's next year for WoW. I had that wrong. Actually, it's next year for both. 2024, November that year.
God,
sorry.
Scott.
Sorry. It's a whole other year.
Okay.
You will never be known as the Nostradamus of your time.
You're not wrong. I can't argue that one either. All right. Thank you, everybody.
It's a big year next year. 2024 is shaping up to be a big year in gaming, too.
Yeah, we're about to have...
Not for Rick Riccatello, but for everyone else.
You got it. It's Riccatello, not Rick.
He got it right at the end.
Yeah.
It's Rick Riccatello?
No, it's not.
Rick Riccatello. Like it's on a scratch deck.
I see you were saying like Rick, last name Atello is what you were doing. But his real name is John Riccatello. John with an H.
Don Riccatello, got it.
Yeah, Don. That's it. All right, that's it for your emails and your texts. And again, talktothecourt@gmail.com for those emails, and 801-471-0462 for your phone calls. And you can do voicemails as well. Speaking of which, I'm going to play a bunch of voicemails at the end of the show that are just kind of good. They're a little longer, so they're a little less perfect for the show, but they kind of pile up over time. I don't like to have them go to waste, so we're going to play them there. It's lots of good recommendations, so make sure you check those out and listen today to those extra calls, which I'll play right after our music rolls. In the meantime, I want to thank everybody who joined us on Patreon this week, like Pale O Rocco, Wayne Norton. That's real close to Wayne Newton. That'd be cool. Ask your parents. Gary Turner and let's see, how would you say DVNA?
DVNH.
Devin? Maybe Devin.
Devin.
And then Andy LJ.
Devin, but you lose interest slightly at the end.
Yeah, it kind of peter out. Peter Out also, and Andy LJ. They're here as well.
Peter Out became a patron. Great.
Yeah, right then and that.
That's a great name. If someone was called Peter Out,
Peter
that'd
Out.
be awesome.
Yeah.
Out a last name.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. You could spell it differently.
Yeah, it is Scott's.
It is.
Anything can be a last name.
Why not? Why not? But what's a good? You could spell it different. You just got to get creative with the spelling. That's all.
But like, you can call your kid Peace, and then you'd be like, "My name is Peace Out."
Peace out.
The Out family name was found in the U.S. and Canada between 1840 and 1920. The most Out families were found in the USA in 1980.
Yeah,
oh, how many awesome
in Canada
Outs
they're
can you
called
make?
the Oots.
Oots, yeah, Peter Oot. You think Peter Oot? What other good Out stuff is there?
In and Out.
Kevin Out, no.
Kevin Out.
John out.
That's what Kevin says when he made his point. Kevin out, and then he leaves.
Yeah, I mean, it's lots of fun you can have with a last name of out.
That's amazing. Anyway, all these guys are awesome, and we have great patrons. I really appreciate everybody in there. You get no commercials ever. You get pre-show content every week, monthly benefits, stuff in the mail, all kinds of reasons to join. You just got to go read about it at patreon.com/core show. And now, frogpants.com/core for everything else. Let's throw it over to Grandma, who's probably kept track of the games we played today, which shouldn't be hard. It's like a smaller list. So fast, Grandma, what would you say we did today?
I don't know how a smaller list somehow translated to an even longer show than you usually do, but somehow you've achieved it.
Yeah.
If you're wondering what all the whinging was, it was the boys talking about Starfield. That was the main game topic that they had through most of the show. If John was upset or Scott was in love, probably Starfield they were talking about. Scott also seemed to find time to Fae Farm. That's F-A-E, as in the Feywilds, where elves and stuff come from. John continued to do wrestling things. You know about it. If you don't, just listen to this part of the last show. It's every week. Bo played Raven's Watch. That was the game that was MOBA-like. So if you were like, he talked about a MOBA, it's Raven's Watch. And then he played Baldur's Gate 3. Thank God one of them's still talking about it. How else are they going to justify it Game of the Year if they don't keep this up another couple of weeks?
Yep, you're right. All this is correct. Wait. Oh, you did say that one. That's it.
No, that's it. Grandma out.
Grandma out. The rest of us also out. I hope you guys have a great gaming week. We'll be back next time with more. We'll see you then.
Get more at frogpants.com.
Adios, Night City.
Oh, adios, nights.
I found Peter out on Facebook.
Peter out. Oh, you found a